Hello everybody and welcome to the NACE Starleague Open Premier Rocket League Spring Season Grand Finals. I am Sephiroth, joined by Powder, and we are super excited to be jumping into this one and only one best of 7 matchup between Northwood White and Redbirds themselves. Illinois State, Powder, two truly dominable teams here going head to head in this grand final.
Oh, certainly. I cannot wait to get into this one. We have the reigning champions of Open Premier with Northwood White going against a different foe this time around, Illinois State, making their way to the grand final, where Fisher College, the runner-up from last year, eliminated in earlier rounds. This one's going to be exciting. Northwood University, only one loss on the regular season, but the 6th seed Illinois State, which I gotta bring up, the 6th seed is surprising, seeing that they went undefeated in the regular season.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. The 6th seed seems weirdly very low for an undefeated team, or I guess very high, rather, for an undefeated team, but they've made it to grand finals, and the seed clearly was not too impactful against them. They've made it as far as they need to go, other than wrapping things up, but in order to win this, they, of course, have to dethrone the Kings, right? As you mentioned, Fisher was a runner-up team last year, losing to Northwood. Northwood looking for the repeat here, as they were the fall 2022 Open Premier champs.
Right, a huge opportunity for them to be able to repeat. It was a tough going in the fall. It went to Game 7 to take down Fisher. This time around, it seems like from the beginning, it might be a little bit of an easier road for Northwood, because Fisher College is another CRL team. It's a bigger opponent, but Illinois State has completely dominated their opponents throughout the season. Undefeated in regular season, only one game loss throughout that span, and throughout the playoffs, 3 4-1 victories and only one Game 7. This team has crushed their opponents, and they're ready to try to do it against Northwood.
And they have truly come through, and I think crushed is the best possible word there. Just dominated every single opponent that has stepped up to them, and now Northwood is the next one here on the chopping block. Can Northwood fight back in time? These are defending champs after all, but statistically, they are somewhat an underdog, just going off raw numbers, of course. The Northwood White roster has had a slightly harder season than the Redbirds, as they have been fully undefeated up to this point, and jumping in this best of 7 series, Powder, it is all about what happens in Game 1. It can truly dictate how one-sided or close series can be.
And that's how it was in the fall. Northwood took Game 1 of that series, and then Fisher actually popped off and won 3 straight, only for Northwood to win 3 straight. So ultimately, that Game 1 did decide the series. But if you're Northwood and you take that Game 1, you cannot let your foot off the gas, because Illinois State is a foe to contend with. They have to go hard all series long, and it's the same for Illinois State. This is probably a little bit of a bigger hill for them to climb going against a top team like Northwood. They're going to have to play from the very get-go fast and aggressive to try to take down a top contender like this.
Yeah, and as Game 1 gets ready here, just in the moment, we're letting all the players know, time to jump into lobby, time to make this grand finals happen, because it is going to take a while one way or another. Will it be a 4-0? Will it be a Game 7 back and forth? Only these players can decide, and I think that's where this really becomes frightening, is you've made it to grand finals, but nobody wants to be runner-up, right? We are all here for that gold medal, for that first place spot on the podium, and unfortunately, as a bracket dictates, only one of these teams can have it, Powder. I truly do not know which way this is going to go. Both teams have their ups, both teams have their downs, and right now I think it just involves the level of aggression and competition they can bring to the table here, because it doesn't matter how good your past season looked. It matters how good this series right here looks on whether or not you're going to walk away a grand finalist winner.
Right, and when you look at the two names, it's almost easy to just immediately take Northwood, seeing as, again, they are the reigning champions, and they're Northwood University. Both of their Rocket League teams are fantastic and top contenders in CRL, where unfortunately Illinois State didn't even make it into. They lost in lower bracket semis of the second qualifiers. So you have a team that competed against top teams all season long against a team who, yes, they still had their own fair share of hard opponents throughout the regular season and throughout the playoffs, but Northwood gets that top level experience a little more often, and that gives them an edge in a series like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to be seeing Northwood come in, like you said, with that top dog experience, able to at least, if they fall into a losing position, not let it get to them as quickly as some other teams may. Not saying Redbird is one of them, just using it as a general example where some teams will lose. And in this game, I preach so often this season about how this could be more mental than physical in a lot of ways. If you lose a game and you go, okay, GG, we lost, it's going to be really hard to come back and win, but it's keeping that strong mental, keeping that strong determination and dedication to your craft and trying to turn things around. I think Northwood is going to be a very mentally tough team, and losing game number 1 isn't going to matter. But unfortunately, tech issues somewhere. We're going to go ahead and try to get those figured out. We'll see you right back here with this grand final in just a bit.
doing it just yet.
No way! Pest Control Peanut, though, combined for a pair of kills. Gonna be even now on the board. Dev Colddoom just yeast themselves onto point and pays for it with their life.
Nobody's checking. He's got one, a second, a third to be had.
It's stuck. It has a 2-goal lead. Look at that touch.
What an amazing redirect.
This is the one. Oh my god.
UH.
Wait, well, what?
Falcon's going to center it up to Keegan. Keegan gets just barely a tire on it.
This Razor, who out the doorway is able to walk away with a kill. Klinger hops in the doorway. Conwa there as well. You can't walk away with the kills, and there's no time left.
And as live production always goes, the second we throw it a break is the second the issue gets fixed. So we are jumping into game number 1. Spring season grand finals here, Northwood White versus Illinois State, and both these teams desperate for that game 1 advantage that comes in the form of a goal. Pirates takes it high, a very clean bounce off the ceiling, but Sin is there to box it away, and no goal yet for Northwood White.
Quick offensive set, but quickly shut down by Illinois State, which is what they want to do with an offensively aggressive team like Northwood. Good job of sustaining the pressure early on, and they are on their offensive side, but it doesn't last for long. Good challenge in from C. Petty, down to CG, pass down too far. Defender does get to it. Nitrous out in the midfield dangerously. Now Pirates forced to get up. Gets there in time, and Nitrous will be there to follow as Sith comes in again. Looks for the pass midfield. Gets it out to C. Petty. Nitrous beats him out. CG is last and quickly turns on it to get the clear out.
A great turnaround. Nitrous finding the demolition. An open goal from Sith, and they sink it in, giving Redbird that 1-point advantage they need. Pretty critical moment there for the Redbirds. They put themselves up by 1, barely a minute off the clock. And I'll be honest, Powder, it's game 1. They're still getting warmed up a little bit. But I think with the mythical status these teams carry, I'm only surprised to see 1 goal in the first minute.
Right. You can usually see high-scoring affairs with 2 teams like this. And, ooh, maybe we were going to get almost a kickoff goal, but quickly shut down. Northwood will look to get back the offensive way. Nitrous forced to retreat. Now goes to the air, past midfield to no one as it's easily cleared away by Illinois State. Pirates over the last defender, should be easy enough. Nitrous will clean it up and tie up the game.
Nitrous coming in quick. They're able to find a huge advantage for Northwood, tie us up at that 1-1 scoreline, and essentially reset the caliber. You've got 3:47, over 60% of the game left to be played, near 80, excuse me. You've got a majority of the game is the main point there, and Northwood White find themselves reset in that caliber 1-1. What can they do with the momentum now that they found just a bit on their side? A great bump from Good Grind, but it will be caught out by C. Petty, who centers it towards center field. Pirates there into Nitrous, and Northwood, a fascinating exchange into that far corner. As Nitrous goes down, did they just set the Redbirds up for success?
Now they are on offense again, looking to regain their lead. CG just too late. C. Petty quickly to it. Just a bit wide. Pirates can't get the clear out, and Sith able to easily clean that up. A rare mistake from Northwood costs them.
Yeah, a rare mistake, and one you definitely do not want to be making in a grand final scenario like this, but unfortunately that's the way the cookie's going to crumble for the time being, and Northwood White find themselves in an disadvantageous position against Redbirds. Is that little mistake, you know, they gave an inch and it cost them a mile. Oh my goodness, will it cost them too? A great lineup from CG, but Nitrous plays a hard defense, boxes it away, and keeps Northwood at this 1-point disadvantage. Sith takes ball control quickly, disrupts the momentum of Northwood, and makes it really difficult for them to work as a unit. Right now, it is raw individual play styles that need to give Northwood their time to strike, and barely it goes in. Top left corner, Nitrous with the tie-up.
Nitrous barely finding the angle. It has to use the defender to assist him to get the goal, but still it works out to tie up the game. This game continues to go back and forth, and really for Northwood, really the only thing that's costing them right now is odd defensive play. They've left 2 nets essentially wide open, the second one off of a whiff. If they can clean that up, they're going to find themselves into the lead. It's just a matter of slowing things down and playing that way. However, the offense is starting to pick up, and Nitrous with his second straight take their first lead.
Yeah, and you've got to wonder, it's actually a Nitrous hat trick, Powder. I believe Nitrous is the only person that's scored so far. I may be wrong on that, but I know that it is a very strong performance from Northwood White, and you've got to wonder if it is just that game 1 jitters, right? Like, maybe they weren't fully warmed up like they wanted to be going into this. Maybe they needed to communicate and collaborate a little stronger as a team, but you can see the gears starting to turn. You can see the water start flowing as this team really does kind of begin to meld into the Northwood White. We know the warm-up is over. It's raw game time now.
Oh, what a bump to open up the net. C Petty not going to miss that double. An incredible team play to set that up.
And team play is there, once from Northwood, then to Redbird, and as half the game is already come and gone, this is becoming much more the expectation I had moments ago, right? I talked about, wow, only 1 point in a minute. Okay, how about 6 in 2.5 minutes? That definitely makes a lot more sense for the caliber of these teams. And as the first half of the game has already come and gone, will the second half tell a different story for either of them, or will we continue to get this blow-for-blow play style?
At this point, it feels like these two teams are going to continue to trade those blows back and forth, giving it away to Illinois State. Sets him up on offense again. Sith looking for the angle, won't be able to find it, but Pirates has the boost stolen away. Shot directly at Nox's. Will he be able to recover? He can, and push it back forward. Cannot follow it up. It's CG back the other way. And finally, we get a little bit of lull in play here, but not for long. Shot just high, but no defender crashing, or no offensive player crashing the rebound. Instead, it's Pirates taking a challenge, attempting to break out, and Noxus will finish it off and go to the air to try to set up the Timberwolves offense.
Wants to get the setup, might not be able to find it. A great shot from Pirates off the wall is boxed away by CG with 100 seconds remaining here in game number 1. How far are these players going to be able to take us? Will it be in overtime in the first game of this grand final, or will it instead turn into a 1-point lead that Noxus unfortunately just cannot locate yet? Another block from Sith, and I've got to give Redbirds my hat so far. Their defense has been immaculate. It's been near flawless up to this point, albeit maybe 3 mistakes.
They've been controlling the midfield to shut down most of Northwood's attempts from the very start. Now a little bit of a struggle to control it. They do get the pass to one another. Demolition takes place, but the shot still made. It's too slow and wide. Pirates will take it to the corner, able to get out to midfield. One-on-one versus CG, takes his time. Not get the pass, and instead CG will take over the possession. Clear out isn't for long. Sith gives it away to Noxus, uses the back wall to his advantage. C Petty can't get up, shot is down and in. Northwood takes advantage and takes the lead.
Very impressive play from Noxus there off the ceiling, takes it up, goes for a single double tap and puts it past C Petty, down into goal, up and through Sith, and gives Northwood a 1-point advantage. 50 seconds left, essentially 20% of the game still left to be played, and as we saw, Illinois, they were able to score 1 point in the first minute, and they find 1 more in the last.
They set themselves up with the opportunity, but Noxus is there, able to send it across the goal line. Still with the offense, the challenge on Pirates, gets it out towards Sith. Won't be able to recover, but it's a double commit from Northwood. This should open things up. Illinois State can get it set up. It's a pinch, but into Nitrus's hands. Off the back wall, this time Sith gets up to it. CG cannot keep it away from Noxus. Instead, it's back to Sith again. Pass out to C Petty. Tries to keep it high, but it's into Northwood once again. Keeping it in, but not keeping the possession is Illinois State. It's another clear out, and in the final 10 seconds, they've got to get back the other way. Instead, Noxus wasting time. CG getting desperate as they finally do break out. Ooh. One demolition to open up the field a little bit.
See it.
Oh, CG went too far
nice.
up. Nitrus will kill it to the ground. Seal a game 1 win for Northwood.
A game 1 win for Northwood, and I mean, incredibly close, as close could possibly be, but it's going to be a victory for Northwood either way. Game 1 has come and gone, and it is not going to be in the favor that Redbirds were looking for. But Powder, I'm such a loud advocate of Game 1 not having the critical weight a lot of people give to it, especially in a best of 7. You've lost only 1 game. Your opponent had to play probably up to 100% to win that by that 1 point, so they have overplayed their hand in a lot of fundamental ways. You've learned a lot about your opponent. What have you learned, and how do you implement it in this second game? Powder, with it being so close, is there any critical blunder you see from the Redbirds where you think, okay, change that and your odds go way up?
It's something that both teams have been doing, and it's these odd misses every so often. We saw Pirates miss a clear on the back wall, which completely opened up the net for Northwood. We saw C Petty on the back wall allow a free double tap to Nox's. So it's just these little bit cleanups, which the nerves can hit you in a series like this. So that's honestly what I'm expecting at this point. It might just take some time to settle into the series and calm the nerves a little bit. So I would expect that kind of play to clean up throughout the series, but it's got to get done quickly, especially for Illinois State after dropping that first game.
Absolutely. Illinois has dropped 1 game, and I think losing 1, as I mentioned, not a huge deal. Whatever, GG, go next, but losing this second one is where momentum can really start to get scary against you. Your opponent at that point is already halfway done with their goal, needs 4 games to win, and if they put 2 down back-to-back, that definitely shows momentum lending itself a little more to one team than the other. But let's see if game 2 tells a different story. Can the Redbirds come out and strike with the aggression and dedication their program is notorious for? Taken up into the far corner here, Nitrous is going to look for an early goal past 2 defenders. Pirates can't get in fast enough to sink it, and Sith steals ball control for the Redbirds.
Like to see Illinois State go out to an early lead like they did last time. However, they've given up the possession to Northwood, but it doesn't last for long. CG into the corner as C. Petty, who catches up to it, is able to take a challenge to keep it on a little bit longer. However, Northwood quickly gains it back. Pirates will not be able to get the read, but it's dished right out to Nox's. Pirates on the turn again. Loses out the challenge to C. Petty, and Illinois State having to play a lot of defense early. They are breaking out, but they're not able to secure possession. Once again, it's on the Timberwolves out.
4:13 on the clock. The Timberwolves have a pretty large advantage to strike, but they're not going to be able to find anything yet. CG steals it away. Nitrous takes it into the far corner. Pirates, a critical whiff. Could this even turn into a goal for the Redbirds? Nitrous, there to catch it. A spike up, a slow fall in front of the goal in Northwood. And Knox has to get in the way to make sure there's no goal yet. Sith takes it cleanly into center field, bounced away in the physicality from Northwood. The only thing keeping breath in their lungs in this moment, keeping us at a 0-0 scoreline. An open goal from Sith. A bump is sloppy, and there's no follow-up. Northwood missing out on that goal once again, still at a 0-0.
And another key miss there from Illinois State. Luckily for them, no one from Northwood was able to get the rebound. They've got to watch out for that. And once again, push to the back line. C. Petty cannot get up, and Pirates get the first goal of game 2.
Pirates' first goal of game 2, first goal of the day. Pirates putting that point on the board there 90 seconds into the matchup, just barely past C. Petty, who misses that block. And now Northwood finds themselves up by 1 with the majority of the game left to be played. I've got to say, Powder, even though we're looking at a 1-0 scoreline, I would say most, if not all of this game, I have felt like Northwood has been in control.
They absolutely have. Illinois State, they've been able to break out, but it's only for a few seconds at a time. C. Petty with an opportunity.
Right.
The shot is saved away, and once again, we see it. Illinois State, a quick counterattack, and immediately back into the hands of Northwood, and they do it again. This lack of possession is going to put them on the back foot if they do not find a way to maintain the possession.
Maintaining possession is a critical play in a moment like this one, and as the 2 minutes have already disappeared, 60% of the game stands before the Redbirds. Nitrous has ball control, a great pass to Pirates, but the positioning is just a little off. This game separated by inches and milliseconds, and unfortunately, that was just a couple of inch differential. Not able to find the lineup. Nitrous takes it off center field, could be in, but the crossbar just too low to make it worthwhile. Pirates' secondary attempt with a sloppy one into a free corner for C. Petty.
Illinois State is low on boosting, getting desperate. Sith had a free clear, but instead Northwood continues controlling the ball and gets another goal because of it.
Great goal from Northwood, and now with half the game left, they're up by 2. This is exactly where they want to be in a moment like this, Powder. Finding a third goal here could be a nail in the coffin already against the Redbirds at the pace of play they're currently bringing to the table. We need a speed increase. We need a coordination and communication to grow, but as CG falls, a blockout from C. Petty is not going to be able to be found. In half the game left, CG from respawn just can't find that freebie.
Feels like Northwood has seen what they need to do to completely control this series, and that's just starve out or Illinois State's time of possession. They've had almost none this entire game. We've got 2 minutes left, so there is still plenty of time, but Illinois State needs to find a way to continue control because Northwood is completely suffocating them.
Yeah, and I think it's rare that I'm willing to kind of prepare a team's goodbye and it's so early in a game with 2 full minutes left. But in reality, I think we're looking at a point in which I think Northwood has had ball control 85% of the time. Like, it is a critical percentage here, and the Redbirds are definitely stuck on like a defensive play. I think you mentioned a lot of great reasons why that's happening. The physicality, the boost drought, the inability for Redbirds to communicate as a team because one of them is always respawning. It's made it so hard for them to work, and Northwood has truly begun to dissect their opponents. They're looking for that 2-peat, Powder. They're looking to find that back-to-back championship victory.
With the play so far, it certainly looks like they're well on their way to it. Still plenty of time, even in this game a little bit, about 90 seconds left, but Illinois State has got to find their footing quickly. Be down 2-0 in the series, assuming they do not perform a miraculous comeback. The CG will attempt to get a clear, but it's just not happening again. Nitrous will just instead leave it back for Pirates, and C. Petty losing control. Actually, CG, though, behind him, maybe to get something going.
CG needs to get anything on the board at this point because it is really becoming a desperate moment as there's only 68 seconds remaining on the clock, and Redbirds do not want to go silently into a game 2. Game 1 was separated by a single point. Can you even find a single point in this second game? That's really where the momentum is going to start hurting. This is what I talked about earlier. This is not a circumstance you want to find yourself in, but unfortunately, it's not always up to you, and Northwood has decided that game 2 is not up to the fate of the Redbirds. It is completely in Northwood's control until CG finds... I mean, that might have been an accident.
Yeah, I think it was Noxus did not get the touch he wanted. I might have been looking for a teammate in the pass in the midfield, but did not see Illinois State pushing upfield. They take advantage on yet another Northwood mistake, which there haven't been many, but anytime they are making a mistake, Illinois State will score a goal. Oh, and a second one almost comes out, but the stop is made by Nitrous. That one might have saved themselves, as now they get the clear and continue to waste time and score another goal to about seal game 2.
They said, all right, you got an extra one? Let's keep it at the scoreline we're hanging out at right now. Nox's 4th point of the series. They're the 8th point on the side of Northwood. Only 4 from Illinois, and we've seen 3 of them in game number 1. 32 seconds left here in game 2. Can they rewrite history? Can they put at least 1 more point on the board? Maybe 2 would be great, separated by 1 point again, right? Show them that you're punching up toe-to-toe with the best of them, but game 2, unfortunately, is going to be a handover to Northwood White unless Illinois gives us nothing short of a miracle play.
Number 1 seeds, Northwood certainly playing like it up to this point. They'll continue the offense in the final seconds, and we'll get out to that. Highly important 2-0 lead in this series. It's going to be a tough ask for Illinois State to make the full comeback as yet another stop comes in from the Timberwolves. They'll just bang it out and look to try to end this game. But what play that we've seen from them so far, completely snuffing out Illinois State's offense.
Yeah, just there was hardly an offense, and that's not in what am I trying to say? That's not against Illinois. That is to Northwood. They played in such a way that the opposing offense could not exist. They played in a way to dissect half of the game from their opponents and make it about Northwood the entire 5-minute clock there. It is exactly what they needed to do to play as effectively and aggressively as they just did and allow them a scoreline like a 4-1 in game number 2. They win with 4 points in game 1, only by 1 point. This time, a 3-point differential. I referred to game 1 as the warm-up game, and I think Northwood is absolutely proving that point.
Right, Northwood, they started off a little bit slow in that game 1. It went back and forth, but not a single doubt in game 2, controlled it the entire way. And if you're Illinois State, you gotta find a way to get back to the kind of control that they had in game 1. Even if it wasn't fully dominant, of course, they still ended up losing. They had a better midfield gameplay to where they could shut down a lot of Northwood's attacks from the very get-go. This time around, Northwood not having any of it, getting the passes and the clears necessary to set up their own offense and then dominate.
Yeah, setting up your own offense and dominating has been the Northwood MO, so to speak, and they are living up to that once again. They want to put that second grand final victory under their belt, and now they are just 2 games away from doing so, essentially a best of 3 away from doing so, if they can keep the ball rolling and the momentum changing. You can tell that we've got these slightly elongated breaks between games because I know Redbird is using every single available second to discuss, okay, what just happened and how do we fix that? What changes can we be making? And in this one, Powder, the changes I want to see are increase in physicality, go for the boost drought, out-drought the drought at this point in time, because right now Northwood, that's why they were able to dominate so much. The domination continues 1 round further, and Noxus finds their own 5th point of the series.
Illinois State just starting to look uncomfortable defensively. You can see the defender falling off the wall because it was such a powerful pinch. He's got to get down quickly, but he doesn't get the read, and instead Northwood takes advantage yet again. CG will try to get it right back to a tied game. He leaves it up for Sith off the back wall. Good challenge down, and it allows them to keep the offense on, but C Petty, unfortunately, on a miss. Will give CG some space. Has to give it up to a teammate, and it's back down over towards CG, using each other to open things up, and now they're on the offense because of it.
On the offense for the first time in a long time. Pirates is going to whiff it. CG as well. A dead ball into the center field there. C Petty goes to catch it in off the wall. Knocked away by Noxus into the hands of CG, but the spacing, the momentum was just not there. It was a catch, but it was a pass into a nobody, and now Sith has to try and clean up the awkward transition. A minute gone. Northwood into a bit of a panic state. Triple defense played. CG sets up center field. Where's the follow-through? Still a possible goal in hand, but it bounces too far out towards center. And they get the cleanup. Triple pass in. C Petty takes it up. All momentum lost. And a clean drive towards center field is boxed away by Northwood once again.
Like the design there from Illinois State, it's just the execution that could not play out. The pass was too far in front, and it slowed things down and allowed Northwood to get back offensively. But a good set from Illinois State nonetheless, longer than they ever had in Game 2. Now it's just about capitalizing, but misses like that are not going to help you. Sith luckily behind him to be able to get it to the side, and CG finished the clear, and he can.
CG finds the clear, a great dribble there through the air, a great open goal, and CG sinks it, ties it up 1-1 here in game number 3, 3:26 left on the clock.
An excellent solo play to get the momentum back on the side of Illinois State. They just over 90 seconds having gone by. Illinois State looking a lot better in this game than they did previously. A lot more offense, a lot more control, and they get it back again after the kickoff. Unfortunately, though, the bump shuts things down for a moment. Pirates on the follow. Pass, I think, 2 Illinois State defenders. No one is home. CG finally getting back. Pirates just caught in a situation with no boost and no momentum.
Oh, a devastating moment. Like you said, no boost, no momentum, just a dream. And unfortunately, the goal was there to break that dream in a pivotal moment. Almost a goal comes through for C. Petty, but it bounces off to the same side of the goal. If Pirates could move fast enough, they can knock it in, and they do just that. A solo play from Pirates down center field, a drill into goal, and another point advantage for Northwood White.
Just a lot of hesitation here from the Redbirds. I'm not sure if Seth thought C. Petty would go for it, but he's got to get up so much quicker because he had the challenge. Unfortunately for him, Pirates just too powerful, slams the way in, and gets the second goal to regain their lead. Oh, and another miss on the back wall. C. Petty, that's twice, but he makes up for it as he falls down. They've got to break out because Northwood is starting to build up that momentum yet again.
Yeah, Northwood is absolutely finding momentum, tipped on their side, tipped in their favor, and Illinois has got to play every card they have. Or this game 3 could end just as games 1 and 2 did minutes ago. Half the game is already gone. C. Petty goes for a clean shot, but it's bounced away. Northwood defense clears it into corner. Knox is up to Pirates. The waterfall ripped in half by Sith, but it's still a clean center. Bounced up to a no man's land. CG might be the one to catch it. Nitrous has to play defense. Pirates into Sith. Above the goal, waterfall disrupted. That's crazy. We just saw the exact same play, but flipped on its head. First was Illinois trying it, then it was Northwood, and they both defended in a beautiful moment, just like that. 2 minutes left, 30 seconds of silence from these teams. And Sith goes for an opening for the Redbirds once again.
Good turn here from Sith. Unfortunately, Nitrous sees him and plays it behind. Now it's Nitrous chasing it down the field, but Sith there first will go for the long clear. Not the play that Northwood needs. Knox is, though, on a good rotation and get it back. Yet another awkward miss from Illinois State. It sends it back and back into the hands of Northwood again. Knox will take his time on it, dish it to the side wall. CG just aggressively towards it. Won't be able to follow. Sith there late and loses out the challenge. C. Petty racing back. No one from the Timberwolves too aggressive for it. Just under 90 seconds left, and a double commit from Northwood. This could be huge, but Noxus goes for the challenge. Doesn't get there in time. C. Petty, it's a double commit from Illinois State. They mess each other up. The follow-up is still put away. Sith is put away by Noxus. Northwood holds strong and holds the lead.
That's incredible. That is genuinely incredible. That defensive play from Northwood, 1,000 things could have gone wrong, yet somehow not a single one did. A breathtaking play on that defense with only 60 seconds left. Illinois CG sinks it and brings us into a sub-minute matchup. It's tied up 2-2. The next goal most likely to be the one to decide the victor of this third game. Can Northwood put themselves on series point, on tournament point, or can Illinois finally start fighting back?
Illinois finally going for speed. CG saw the touch from Nitrous and immediately challenged, got the read, and scored the goal because of it. They've got to keep that aggression up because Northwood was kind of caught off guard by that. They thought they had a freebie clear, but instead they get the game tied up, and Sith will attempt to keep the offense on. He can to C. Petty. Another challenge over towards the side. CG with the read, dumps it into the corner, looks for a teammate midfield. It does go up and over. C. Petty still gets an insane angle, but Noxus gets there in time. CG, a quick turn, has the boost to control this, but he loses it out to Nitrous, who gets it back the other way.
Nitrous has it locked up. 20 seconds left in overtime, feeling unbelievably likely unless one of these players really gives us another solo play. The I'll do it myself we've seen from both teams so many times. It's close, but close is never going to count. You've got to get that ball into goal. A bounce in, up off the ceiling. 3 seconds left on the clock. Nitrous spikes it down, and it's in from Pirates. 2 seconds left. Oh my goodness, a Devastating play from Northwood. A wall bounce from Pirates. Nitrous not even there to catch it, but Illinois' goal. Wide open Powder, and another 1-point victory for Northwood. Unless Illinois makes history right here.
Gotta keep this up off the kickoff, and they can. It is a double commit, and one taken off the field. Double to the other side. Nitrous will happily let that touch the ground, and Northwood in the final seconds seals away game 3 and are 1 game away from repeating as Open Premier champions.
Repeating as Open Premier champions in a little bit less of a flashy way. There may be no Game 7 at this pace, at this level of momentum. There is a very real chance this could be a 4-0 series, but knowing Illinois, knowing Redbirds and their inability to give up in situations like this, they are going to double down, they're going to try harder, and I believe a fire has been lit underneath them. I think there's a clear understanding. This is your 11th hour. This is your swan song. You've got to make something happen right here, or Grand Finals is going to be a quiet one.
Right, Illinois State is certainly a team that can come back in positions like this. In their only Game 7 of the playoffs, they went down 1-0, then won 3 straight before being able to win the series. So they're certainly not out of this just yet. But in that playoff, it was against not Northwood, unfortunately for them. This is still a top team in North America, and Illinois State is as well. But with that lack of experience and not being able to play against teams like this as often, it's certainly putting them in a hole here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a tough spot to be in. And I talked way back at the beginning of game number 1, I think even pre-game 1, I was talking about how the mental makes a critical difference here, right? I think anybody naturally is going to look at an 0-3 deficit and go, holy cow, this is tough. Because yes, this is going to be tough, but it's tough. It's not impossible. And Illinois State, they want to try to show us that they can make this happen, that they can find a success, and they can give us at least a Game 5. Let's see if that story can come true, or if Northwood is just going to continue to do Northwood things.
Early on, Northwood happy to take their time with it. They send it back as Nax is dumping it to the back wall, right into the hands of Pirates. He'll go up into the air, over towards Nitrous, but Sith quickly cutting it off. C-Petty with an opportunity, but he cannot catch up. Now CG goes underneath him. Sith last one back. A good aggressive challenge. Need to go for it there. Still, though, Timberwolves fight their way out. Nox's couple challenges everywhere as Pirates now will gain control. Try to go back on offense again.
About a minute off the clock, and Redbirds find themselves in ball control. C-Petty has it. Nitrous bounces it right back away, and we see the goal of Northwood is currently open, but I think there's a level of confidence there in which we know Illinois hasn't been near their goal in quite a while. So I think they're really confident, understanding they can triple commit down towards center field, and as the triple commit already comes to a close, Noxus is there. Full-blown goalie, a clear knock down towards center to force CG to catch, and Nox unfortunately will not get that freebie goal.
Good play here from CG, keeping it away from the Northwood defense, forcing them to go to the side. CG will leave it off for C-Petty, leaves it up for Sith. Good read, though, seeing Northwood is immediately to that. CG, another challenge on the wall. It's still favorable for Northwood as now Nitrous to the back wall, but he gives it into the hands of Sith. It's Pirates. Just looking for passes to one another. CG will play it high, play it to C-Petty. Double commit here from Northwood. This will open space for Illinois State. It's just about taking advantage of that space and taking some shots from it.
You've got to make the opportunities from the space. The space itself is never going to win you the game, but you've got to find an opportunity to strike within that space. And so far, Redbirds unfortunately not able to do so. Perhaps this story can be a little different here. 3 minutes left on the clock. CG takes it high. C-Petty there to catch it towards center field. A 1v1 against Noxus, who will box it away. Sith demoed by Nitrous. A 3-2 advantage for Northwood, and CG has to go from the offense to the goalie in the blink of an eye. Nitrous with the waterfall. Nobody with the follow-through, and still at a 0-0 here in game number 4.
A miss from Northwood, opening things up for Illinois State. They still are able to get it to the corner. C-Petty just getting out of the way. It'll be CG for the challenge. Much too late. Nitrous to the corner. Gets the double mid. C-Petty looking for Sith. He'll take it along the wall. Getting it close. Cannot get it out enough to CG. C-Petty's got to race back into net now. Back towards Pirates. Behind the defender. Noxus to the back wall. Can't do much with it. Instead, it's CG with control looking to set up Redbird offense.
Setup is here. Nitrous there to catch it down towards center field. A double defensive commit from Northwood. Rather uncharacteristic, but it looks like it hasn't bit them quite yet. Nothing to be worried about in this moment, but that's a pretty, opportunistic goal for the Redbirds. Pirates, a beautiful spacing there. CG wants to do it themselves again, and even that time, Noxus is waiting for them. They are prepared for you to try and strike, and they will take you down at their own hand if they have to. 2 minutes left. A silent 3-minute game so far. Powder, the next goal at this rate might be the only goal of the fourth game.
Could be our lowest scoring affair so far. Both teams have started to figure each other out, and the defense has picked up immensely because of it. This one off the ceiling. Sith there for the read. Gets it over one Northwood defender, but not the second. It's Nox's along the side wall. Dishing it out to Pirates as CG will race in. Take the 50. Behind one. CPetty's got to get the read, and he does. Rolling down, though, Nitrous. Ooh, too far out for Pirates. This could set up a wide open net for Illinois State. They take advantage and get the first lead of this game.
80 seconds left, and a lead is finally found, this time in favor of the Redbirds. Can they force a Game 5? Can they make these next 80 seconds as critical as they have to be? Or can Northwood do what Northwood always does and answer back in mere seconds to the aggression being brought out by their opponents in this moment? It's a huge play. It's got to light a fire and rejuvenate the sails of Northwood in this moment. Or Redbird, excuse me, against Northwood. CG goes for a slow one. It's not going to be a freebie like they wanted, and 70 seconds left for Northwood to try and answer. Nox's into the far wall. Sith to catch it and slow things down. Nox is so close, but close never matters. Pirates into the defense, up and over two defenders. Sith there to catch it center field. It's centered for nobody. Who's there to catch it? Sith sends it down. It's a hurdle, but Nox is there to catch it once again.
I love the aggression here from Illinois.
Is that it?
State and almost set up a double tap. CG, tough angle to find, not enough speed on it. But it's the aggression here from the Redbirds that's allowing them to set up more offense and shutting down Northwood's attacks. It's what worked for them in Game 1 to build out such a close game. They just haven't been able to find it since. Finally back to it, though, with under 30 seconds left. They have the lead, looking to hold on.
A 1-point lead with 30 seconds left is not a comfortable spot to be in, but it's the ideal of the two positions at this current moment. Sith, a beautiful defensive blockade, throws the ball down toward the goal of Northwood and disrupts a lot of the remaining time bank. Pirates has to slow burn it, a dangerous moment. Bounces up, single digits now, Powder. Could this be Redbirds putting that first point win on the board? Nobody wanted to see a silent series, and it looks like we aren't going to get one if this remaining garbage time second can tell true. CG with the clear. It goes up, in, off the wall. Nox is a sloppy catch. Can Nitrous grab it? They can, just barely under the ball in time. Pass CPetty onto the ground in Illinois, winning game number 4. We've got at least part of a series on our hands.
It took a hard-fought shutout, but Illinois State does get it done. Northwood, though, they're going to come back hard here in Game 5. Illinois State needs to play virtually the exact same way that they just played. And they had close calls.
Absolutely.
A couple mistakes here or there that Northwood this time didn't capitalize on. But if Illinois State can stay mostly clean and continue this aggression, I think they have a good shot at being able to take a couple more games off and maybe complete the comeback.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a very real chance of at least winning the second game here. I think we saw something really interesting that you brought up for a moment, but the game was moving so quickly we didn't really get to hone in on it, is Redbird's ability to really start reading Northwood here. Did it take 4 games? Yes, but better late than never. You get a game under your belt. You're starting to disrupt those passing lanes. You're starting to disrupt those bumps and the disruption of boost collection there. They've really found a way to dissect Northwood in that 4th game, but the 4th game isn't the one that matters. It's the 4th game you win that matters. So they've begun something incredible here. A possible reverse sweep is now statistically on the table, but it is a Herculean task to say the very least. And Redbird, they've begun it. Can they follow through?
Right. You essentially need 4 perfect games in a row. They've got one of those down, but it's still a long road ahead for Illinois State. They have to stay tough and not fall into what happened in Game 2, where they took a close loss against Northwood and then just ultimately kind of collapsed defensively. They allowed Northwood too much control, and it resulted in a blowout victory for the Timberwolves. If they can keep things a lot closer, I think it's going to catch Northwood off guard, and more aggression might work out for them. However, the last man for Illinois State went. This sets up Northwood as Nitrous gets the challenge midfield. Pirates aggressively, but only can send it backwards, which at the very least slows them down, gives Illinois State time to get boost.
Slows things down quite a bit here in favor of Illinois State. They really do need that small bump of patience on their side. They need to get that boost. They need to regroup and approach this next goal as best they can. CG blocks it out, misses the whiff, and Nitrous finds it. Nitrous' 4th point of the game so far, the 12th point of Northwood up to this point, and not even a minute off the clock. The double-edged sword stands sharp. You've scored early. They've got plenty of time left to respond.
Back wall reads for Illinois State. Been a thorn in their side all night long, and yet again comes back to bite them as Nitrous takes advantage, gets 1 goal in, cannot get up to that challenge. Knock home a second. Illinois State on a counterattack, letting it fall to the ground. C. Petty does beat out one, but he gets demoed for his efforts. Into the corner, CG taking his time across the field to a teammate. It's down in the mid now, but no one pushing up. The third man playing a little bit passively there. Doesn't result in much, unfortunately. Actually, CG able to keep the offense on. Not for long this time as Nitrous back the other way, and Pirates will chip it up, looking for the shot.
Pirates looking for the shot here. Will they be able to find the lineup? CG blocks it away. Nothing happening on the side of Redbird. Northwood still up by 1. 90 seconds have come and gone, and Northwood now needs one more point to really feel good about their chances. Knox is into center field, boxed out by CG, who, must I say, has been the MVP of the Redbirds so far today, but we can talk about that more a little bit later. Here comes another chance from CG themselves, and Nitrous boxes it away. No points for the Redbirds.
Oh no, last man for Redbirds went. Now CG's the last one, aggressively to it again. Like you said, the team leader so far, and he's gonna set up a goal. Sith to the left side, wide open, ties the game.
Ties the game here in game number 5, 1-1, 60% of the game left to be played, and the pressure stacking against Northwood. You lost one, that's all right, you shook it off, you found a point, but now they've answered you back all over again. The pressure no longer in favor of Northwood, and actually the pressure starting to leak a little bit against them. Redbirds emerging strong in this moment. Let's see how far they're able to take it.
Pirates to it. Ooh, Nitrous was looking for the bump, couldn't get it in time. Knocks it to the left side. C. Petty gets up to it. A long clear out. One-on-one for a moment. Sith not able to get there. C. Petty misses it, and CG not expecting. Has to turn back quickly. Needs to get this challenge, and he does. Still leaves the net open, but C. Petty there again. Another desperation attempt is successful. Nitrous is waiting for it. Right side shot. Sith gets there, but the top shelf shot, too much to handle. Northwood breaks them down and regains the lead.
Northwood's 13th point of the series so far, only 8 brought on by Illinois State, so almost double, not really that close, but the point stands a lot more for Northwood so far. Knox's 6th individual point as a player, so absolutely the top scorer of this lobby, and as half the game is already come and gone, Northwood finds themselves up by 1. One more point could really help start to slam the nails into this closing coffin of the grand final plays.
Tough here for Illinois State to try to break out. Another desperate attempt from Illinois State to try and get out, but they only get to midfield. C. Petty now with space to work with, gives it out too far, and the Timberwolves will take over the offense once again. Knoxes sends it off the defender to the corner. Now it's C. Petty looking to set up the Redbird offense. Ooh, almost gave it away. This one on Knoxes, able to get there. Can Pirates do so? He can. Sith coming in, though, sending it off the back wall. Easy read for Knoxes. Takes it to the corner. The stop. Continues the offense, and underneath Nitrous. Nitrous jumped for it, not expecting the ground ball.
I certainly would not have in that moment. I think you fell for something a lot of us would have fallen for in a critical blunder play like that. The ground ball sinks in quickly as well. A fastball into goal, and with only 102 seconds left on the clock, Powder, this is where it's going to separate the goods from the greats. Can Northwood find just one more? Can they turn themselves into grand finalist champions back to back, or can Redbird continue to drag them along this marathon and force at least one more game?
CG so much time to work with. Wins out the challenge now to the midfield. C. Petty gets there first. Ooh, a bump, though. Shutting down the Redbirds offense. It's Pirates looking for the read off the corner. Instead, it's CG so quick to it. Nitrous now caught awkward because of it. CG up off the back wall. C. Petty taking his time. Takes a challenge to allow teammates to get back. Nitrous with control. Loses it now, but around one defender. CG not give it off to his teammate. Instead, it's back into the hands of Northwood with 1 minute left to see if Northwood can secure this. Can he off the double? No, put away by Sith. He will break it out.
The breakout is here, and now C. Petty has a goal boxed away by Nitrous. 47 seconds left on the clock. Nitrous has a great play towards center field, but Sith steals it away. Sloppy knock into the far corner. Pirates takes it up. That's a freebie, Powder. I don't know what is going on. C. Petty takes it, and that is a goal advantage for the Redbirds. Only 40 seconds left of game 6. all of a sudden feeling more and more likely. A beautiful play from the Redbirds. And I mean, that was truly a freebie. They had every lineup in the world they needed to find that success.
They absolutely did. I mean, Northwood just took their time on it, not expecting an aggressive challenge, but that's what's worked out for the Redbirds all series long is the aggressiveness, catching Northwood off guard and sleeping. It's gotten them yet another lead and an opportunity to bring themselves within a single game if they can finish it off. There is still time. CG underneath one. Gets the follow-up into the corner. Pirates up the wall. He's got boost to work with, but shut down by C. Petty. It's a wide open net. It's too high, though, which gives the Timberwolves life. They break it down the other way. CG's off the field. Nitrous. A challenge back the other way. Pass in the midfield. Pirates on the shot. It's barely cut away by the defense. It's still alive. C. Petty will see this one towards the net. Still high. Sith into the corner again now. Oh, and Pirates kills that one down. And Illinois State secures another one and sends us to a game 5, or game 6, excuse me.
Game 6, Powder. Absolutely. A game 6 here is on the horizon, and this is going to be fascinating. A moment in which we saw a 3-0 has now turned into a 3-2. Redbird winning the last 2 games, so momentum really on their side. Northwood wanted to run the sprint, but being forced to run the marathon here has been tough.
Yeah, Illinois State has done an excellent job the previous 2 games of completely turning things around. They're going after the aggression that worked out for them in game 1. I'll say it again. Yes, they lost, but I love that they saw what worked in game 1 to make it close and have now fully committed to that in games 4 and 5 to get victories to now give themselves even more life in this series.
The advantage has been on the side of the Redbirds. They've won by a single point both times, but 1 point is all you need. I preach that so often when we're on the desk. It's only about that 1 extra point that gives you that game advantage. And while the reverse sweep is absolutely still available here for the Redbirds, can Northwood answer out here in game 6? There's only game 7 left if this one goes awry to Northwood. And then all of a sudden, it's just a best of 1 series that took us a really long time to get to. But Northwood definitely need to find this advantage, because I will say that last game, there were some pretty critical blunders, including the free goal Northwood found that allowed them to find that win. So Northwood, I think, are starting to slip a little bit as this series draws on.
Right, and I don't think it's anything that they're necessarily like slowing down about. Sometimes you see a team get out to a huge 3-0 lead in the series and just start to fall asleep a little bit. They think they've got it secured, but I don't think that's the case. I think Northwood is still going for the same gameplay they're normally going for. However, there's just a couple mistakes here and there that are completely opening up things that Illinois State has just not missed yet.
Yeah, Illinois State has been doing a really spectacular job of guaranteeing they don't miss much, and Knox is trying to find a goal early for the Northwood White squad. But as we've seen, getting that early goal is no longer kind of the guaranteed point advantage we thought it was when this series started. Northwood has scored first, and I think both games they lost. So let's see if this one is going to be any different. Nitrous into Sith there, so no goal for Northwood yet. CG, a high play into the far left side. Not a lot of value. A great setup forces Northwood onto defense, where they turn themselves right back onto the forward foot before you can even blink. Barely being boxed out by Sith. Pirates tries again. CG there to catch it, and we're back down toward the goal of Northwood.
Northwood seems to be playing a little bit quicker this game. It's something that Illinois State's going to have to keep up with, especially on the offense. Here comes Knox's into the midfield for Nitrous. Shot is on, cut away, but a rebound from Pirates is able to muscle its way in, and Northwood gets the lead.
Pirates barely able to muscle their way in there, but I mean, hey, you found it, and that's what matters. A double defensive block from Sith and CG. Sith almost finds that one as well, but unfortunately the almost just was not good enough. That is a point in favor of Northwood. A minute off the clock, so a lot slower than their previous points found. This one took over a minute, and many we've seen within that first. The pace of play has been slowed against Northwood in a lot of critical ways, but can they find a victory here, Powder? What do these remaining 3:45 hold?
This is something that Illinois State has done excellently so far, is anytime they go down, they find a way back and get it tied up. Like you said earlier, Septilence, that's what they've done the past 2 games.
Yes.
Now it's just about getting it done yet again to send it to a game 7. Still plenty of time in this, but the offense is a lot more lacking for Illinois State. And on the side of Northwood, they've taken a page out of Illinois State's book with the aggression. This one, a quick challenge to get the second goal.
A huge challenge to find that second goal is exactly what Northwood needed in a moment like this. I keep talking about how you want to be 2 or probably even 3 points ahead of your opponent before you can really consider yourselves in a comfortable position. Northwood has found themselves up by 2 with 3.5 minutes left here in this game. Pressure continues to stack against them, but it seems like it's not something they're particularly worried about. Ith finds it center field down to C Petty. Pirates goes for a bounce of their own. CG to catch. Nitrous for the turnaround. A lot of players involved in this offensive play, and the goal of Northwood wide open in this moment. Rotations are there. The passing lanes were not open for the Redbirds, and now defensive plays are plentiful.
Excellent jump from CG to get this one back. Another excellent challenge from C Petty. Can he get the pass mid? He cannot. Again, opening space for Northwood. CG back in the midfield. Nitrous almost forced to give it away, but he keeps the control going. Pirates into the corner, gets the double, but Nitrous up too quick, setting up Illinois State offense. C Petty into the air looking for the challenge, won't be able to get it. 2 go for Illinois State. That might have just shut down their opportunity. Nobody will be able to get there for the rebound. Just after halftime in this one, a lot more control for Northwood. A shot is cut away from Knox's. But Illinois State has got to get back the other way. Their offensive opportunities have been limited.
The offensive opportunities have been nothing short of limited. Powder continuously as we've gotten through this time and time again. This team has found themselves dwindling with these offensive capabilities. Noxes wants to find a goal, boxed out by CG. You've got to respect the patient play there, trying to change things up, putting a third one down. You've survived 60% of the game without your opponent scoring. Can you make it just the remaining 40? It's going to be a 2-0 victory, a lot less flashy than these previous couple of games, but a win is a win regardless, and that's what matters. We're not here to be flashy. We're here to find this victory, and with only 105 seconds left, can Northwood call themselves back-to-back NACE Starleague champions?
Nitrous looking to almost secure it there, put away by CG to the side. Quick shot ripped out, but put away over to CG. Taking his time, gets the pass midfield, beaten out. This one a freebie for Northwood. They smell it. Just under 90 seconds left. 3-0 lead. A tough ask for the Redbirds.
Just under 90 seconds left, just under 9 points from Noxes. That is their 8th goal this series, Powder. The 3rd of this game. I'm pretty sure it was a hat trick. No, sorry, the 2nd of this game, because Pirates got that crazy triple defensive block earlier. But the point stands that Noxes is really deadlifting the rest of this team to a winning position. 80 seconds left, 1 goal per, not that many seconds for Illinois State, and they've got to change something here, or the numbers are going to continue to stack against them.
No.
Noxes looking for the double digits here. That is their 9th individual point.
I think all it took for Northwood was those couple of losses, and they fully awoke and went back to everything that Illinois State had been using against them and has now done it to the Redbirds. They've slowed things down, but also have played aggressively. They've been able to get challenges and beaten out Illinois State because of it. And now with only 65 seconds left, virtually impossible for Illinois State to make the comeback. It was a valiant effort to bring back those 2 games, but at the end, Northwood has shown why they are one of the top programs in the nation.
And one of the top programs in the nation, like you said, Powder, proving that here, trying to get another NACE Starleague Grand Finalist Championship under their belt, and with only 10 seconds per goal being the out for the Redbirds right now, I think we can pretty comfortably say this game has come to a close. I don't know if it was Northwood truly waking up. I don't know if it was Northwood just no longer playing with their food, but the most dominant game by far is going to be the closing and victory game for the Northwood White Squad to walk away with another Grand Finals Championship.
And Illinois State just not finding anything. Like we said, a great turnaround. They saw what, again, I'll repeat it, they saw what worked in game 1, which was a lot of aggression against Northwood to catch them off guard and set up offense for themselves. But unfortunately, in the end, Northwood just going back to the control they are so known for. They will take one for the road.
There it is. There's the 10.
Seconds left. 5 on the board for Northwood. They will walk away Open Premier champions.
Walking away Open Premier champions with one of your players hitting 10 individual points, 18 points scored by Northwood, 10 of them coming from Noxes. Unfortunately, only 10 points from ISU, so an 8-point differential does decide this series at the end of the day, and as the ball dumps into the no man's land, the garbage zone, if you will, Noxes a bit of a celebratory ball juggle, and ISU ready to wrap things up. That is a huge victory for Northwood White, and they are the NACE Starleague Open Premier Rocket League Spring Season Grand Finalist victors. A big congrats to the Northwood White squad once again.
I mean, at the start of the series, we talked about how we felt like Northwood had the advantage going in. You got both the name Northwood and just the team in of themselves. It's a fantastic roster. You had Pirates and Noxes, who have played together for so many semesters now, with the more of a newcomer, Nitrous, only joining them in the fall. This team has popped off so quickly with top finishes both in CRL and in NACE. They go back-to-back now to be able to take it. Again, though, what a fight from Illinois State. I thought coming in, this was probably going to be maybe 4-0, maybe 4-1, but no, they held it close the entire time. A couple games got a little bit out of hand, but at the end, it was a hard-fought effort from the Redbirds.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Powder, not only was it a 4-2, but 2 of their losses were separated by a single point. Like, this was unbelievably close all the way down the wire, but unfortunately, the Redbirds are not able to kind of clutch up those final games, and Northwood will walk away victorious, and that does bring this main season to a close. I will get a little sappy and weird and emotional and speak for Powder and myself and say thank you all so much for joining us on this chapter of NACE Starleague. It has been a pleasure to be here. It has been so great to bring you Rocket League every week we've been able to, and all the weeks we haven't, we hope you've enjoyed the journey. Thank you all so much for joining us. A big shout out to both teams for coming out, playing their hearts out, our production team for making everything possible, and of course, all of you for watching. We love each and every one of you. Check your posture, drink some water. Don't forget to love each other. We hope you enjoyed the season. Thanks for watching.
Duty season is coming to a close, but the Open Premier playoffs have finished, and we have now reached our most climatic point of the year, where we have our grand finals to see who will be taking home a national chip for the Open Premier side of things in Call of Duty. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cash. The NACE Starleague playoffs are upon us yet again. Fisher College versus Arizona State University. These two teams have a lot to tout amongst themselves. But there's one thing you'll notice about this Fisher roster. It's that they are very good. You might notice a few names on there, such as Justin Silly Fargo, multi-time national champion inside of the, not only the Call of Duty League, but of course the Call of Duty World League. Former, of course, no longer inside the league at the moment, but he has taken his talents to the collegiate scene, where he's pursuing an education with the rest of his team, who is also extremely good. You'll notice Dylan Rex on there, cousin of Phantoms, but is also extremely talented. And of course, who could forget about Sabby down there at the bottom, Papa Gunzy, who is just another name to tout to this incredible roster.
Yeah, they're going to be great through and through, as you've come to expect. They even flew under the Bay State banner as of a couple years ago even. So going to be quite the lineup coming into this one tonight against Arizona State, who is going to do their best to try to take down this titan of a roster. We've got Sig, Milo, Tiki, and Windmills. Obviously, these guys, of course, haven't seen a lot of Open Premier this year, but knowing that Arizona State boasting that 6-1 record alongside Fisher College, you know these guys have done their homework. You know they're prepped coming into here and ready to try to take down these beasts.
On the opposite side, though, I mean, look, I like to keep it frank. I like to keep it lighthearted. And I like to keep it exciting here. But there is a very clear kind of feeling in the atmosphere about this Fisher College roster that does give them quite the advantage over Arizona State. Again, credit to Sig, Milo, Tiki, and Windmills. This is a phenomenal team. But on the opposite side, they're playing a multiple-time national champion, or excuse me, a world champion when it comes to the Call of Duty World League and the Call of Duty League in general. So there is a genuine kind of a feeling of dismay in the air when you're talking about this Arizona State roster. But that doesn't mean the Sun Devils can't have a little tango with this Fisher roster, especially in a 7-game series opposed to the normal best of 5, which will be here tonight. I'm sure a lot of people that have been watching Call of Duty over this year will kind of recognize it's no longer a best of 9 in the finals. We've slimmed things down to a best of 7 series, so it'll take 4 games to be able to walk out on top of that. And really, though, the map order doesn't change all that much. We'll start out with a hard point, go into an S&D, control, hard point, search and destroy, and then control and S&D. Now, Amber, you and I have discussed this before, and it still holds completely true. I don't think that control should be that 6th game mode, but luckily for us, I don't think we'll have to see 6 games inside of the series. That's not to say anything about Arizona State, but it's a testament to how good this Fisher College roster truly is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be a hotel control if we did get pushed that distance. So at the very least, one of the better control maps, right, if we have to see it. But as far as pacing goes and kind of what the tension holds at that stage of a best of 7 series, yeah, a hard point does play a little bit quicker, a little more energetic for kind of what the situation calls for. Regardless, we have a long night of COD until we even get to that point. If we get there, Fisher College, Arizona State, going to be taking things on a hotel hard point. Looks like we're going to have to do a quick little lobby restart here for a moment, as we had a slight technical issue that we'll work through and jump right back into that one. But obviously, as far as we could see, going into a map 1 on hotel, and I can run down what the other maps will be for the rest of the series just to kind of give us some insight. After this hotel hardpoint, we'll go into a fortress, search and destroy, expo, control, and that's going to be our and then a Mercado hardpoint. Those would be our guaranteed maps and modes, at least for the first 4 games of the series. We'll conclude things and need to, if we go the distance, a hotel, search and destroy, a hotel, control, and then a CeeLo S&D. So I mean, a lot of hotel in this, three nights worth of hotel, 2 on the back half of things if we need things pushed further. But at least for a hotel fortress to start things off, I know you and I have cast a bit of COD this weekend. We've seen a lot of that first map combo into a fortress, search and destroy. I think that's what teams that are confident in their map pool at this point like to square up earlier on, get those out of the way. You'll kind of see that depth of map pool coming a bit later.
Yeah, I do kind of agree with that as well. There has been a general want for a lot of teams to get this hotel, maybe not out of the way, but to try to get that as their comfort map pick earlier on in a series. And I think that does hold true for either of these two teams. Because genuinely speaking, over the year, it seems like this has been not only the favorite map, but it seems to play the best in a traditional sense of Call of Duty. Not to say the other maps aren't necessarily up to snuff, but there is a general sense of hotel just kind of being that staple of this Modern Warfare 2 season. There's a reason that pretty much every best of 5 series that we play nowadays seems to have at least 3 of it, and 1 for every single mode. So not too shocking to see that we'll have all 3 inside of this best of 7. Regardless, though, talking about this first map on the hotel, Fisher has been known throughout this whole year for their hard point and respawn prowess specifically. The S&D is where they falter a bit, but their hard points are just so well cooked within themselves that it's going to be a miss to kind of count them out of being able to take this pretty handedly in map 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, and just going back to the players you're talking about, right? Dylan, Rex, Silly, Gunzy, I mean, even Druxy, you know, I thought there was even rumor of possibly a roster change coming in, but either way, yeah, it's just, you think of those players, you think of how well talented they are. I mean, you said already on the professional stage, but even just in challengers, let alone this year, right? What they're able to do. Hardpoint is the one where you put the most time in, and scrims, that's one you work on the most to try to flesh out some strategies, get your timings right, and things like that. So yeah, at this point, not shocked that Fisher coming to this is a respawn strong team. It'd feel weird if it was otherwise, but yeah, it's going to be one where very much for Arizona State, you'd love to take the map one if you can. If you can't, at least try to do your best to get toe-to-toe, get warmed up. I know so often for the underdog team on paper, we talk about, being warmed up, controlling the things you can, doing those right, but really you can't overstate those simple parts and those kind of, building blocks of the fundamentals of COD, where it's just like, do what you can, control what you can, and beyond that, see where that puts you at the end of the map. Going into search and destroy, they've got to be feeling that sense of, if we're going to strike early, it's going to be in map 2. Again, a map 1-1 would be great for you, but you're definitely looking at that, just having an eye on it to level the series if this doesn't go your way. But regardless, Hotel is one. You were talking about it being one that plays a bit more traditional, plays a fundamental to what, competitive Call of Duty is. It is one where if you play it correctly, again, the map, the spawns should reward you. So again, you play fundamentally sound hardpoint, you should get things to go your way. That's winning rotations, that's trying to break quickly, things like that. Arizona State do stand a good chance to try to take this one, but again, there is quite the list of things they'd have to do in their control and do correctly for them to be able to go toe-to-toe with the likes of Fisher.
I mean, there's a lot of talk to specifically about the kind of atmosphere that a best of 7 can create. And there are a few maps that can definitely sneak up on you, but I in a lot of ways, I don't know if I want to necessarily attack it from that angle. I think the longer the series goes on, as we say with a lot of teams that are kind of an underdog in a series, the better their chances fare. And I think that still holds true for Arizona State. You're able to force maybe a map 5 or a map 6, things can start to get a bit different. But I think the conversational point then turns to, well, how good is Fisher in, the first 3-4 games? And will they even allow you to be able to get close to that point in time? And genuinely speaking, I don't think they probably will let Arizona State have much of an inside of the series. This is a team that we considered to be not only a potential favorite, but would probably win the entirety outright against, maybe everybody else except Northwood inside of the actual varsity part of the NACE Starleague this year for Call of Duty. So that, in my mind, already plays a big factor into why I think Fisher has not only been the highest touted team inside of the Open Premiere this year, but why it's going to be that much harder for ASU to climb that rank and be able to step up that ladder, because most likely a rung's going to break and you're going to fall down.
Definitely.
GG before you know it.
Yeah, definitely. And again, that kind of goes into the conversation of what can you control. You said Fisher's not going to give you an N, if at all, here in the series. If you do find them lapsing, if you find them on a slow start, if you find them, making mistakes around the map, you have to be ready to capitalize. This is the point that your season comes to, where you should be playing your best Call of Duty in this moment. For Arizona State, you need to not only have an eye on your game plan and your strategies. Again, that's also having a lookout for, is Fisher slipping up here? Are we actually, did we beat them on rotation? Winning those 1v1s on transition are going to carry that much more weight in a series like this, because, again, so much is on the line for these teams. So for Arizona State, you've got to really be multitasking, find a way to juggle too many things at once, it feels like. But again, you do those things, you might be able to walk away and give yourself a real possibility in this series. Thinking we have I think we have another issue.
Yeah, it seems like we've got some technical issues going on in the lobby. It was a 1v1 there. I kind of wanted to see who was going to win that, but regardless. It looks like we are going to go ahead and step aside for the moment. So I know we wanted to watch the games, and so do you. So when we come back, we'll have the first hard point of this best of 7 series for you. Don't go too far. Starleague playoffs will be back in a bit. go. It looks like we finally got ourselves a hardpoint lobby up and going here for Hotel and map number 1 of this best of 7 grand final series of the Open Premier. NACE Starleague playoffs have arrived and have come to the climatic conclusion here. Off to the races, though, to start here. Tiki on screen looks for some good shots onto Rambi. Will be able to get himself inside of the hard point first. Middle of the map locked down for Arizona State. This is the aggression we hope to see early on.
The map control completely dictated by Fisher College, and as you were saying, the aggression early on, the pace is going to be out of this world early time. At least with the way Arizona State to start, and Fisher, once they got through, able to get these right side spawns locked down for the time being, while also trying to garner some time for themselves. But again, high octane gameplay, exactly what we come to expect. It'll be like this from start to finish. 15 or so seconds left on P1. Fisher College, great setup here to try to lock down the lanes as Arizona State are pushing through Restaurant for P2. Maybe finding an opening through the top, and now a couple more kills go their way. They're going to be quick on the pounce here to try to get in.
Yeah, so it's all going to come down to Druxy, who's here in the back line. Milo tries to get all the way out in the back. Hold off just for a moment. Good shots there from Druxy. You're able to snap for one kick at the second, but Dylan Rex should be on the chase here in just a moment as he finds himself spawned up over by Jewelry. Satellite push now in from Fisher College into the back line. Sig is looking for a few. Arizona State, though, gets shut down, and the break is in once again here from Fisher College. They make quick work of 2 and now force Arizona State to spawn out.
It's Milo. Maybe trying to have a look through spawn. Try to develop a pinch for his team, but that's going to be read by Rambi and taken care of. And now with Gunzy on the move, able to keep these players chopped down in Satellite, keep them pinned on this top right corner of the map. It is all Fisher College in the kill feed, all Fisher College in the time. 30 seconds left on this hill. They've already got themselves a 20-point or so lead. Arizona State, you get one more crack at this before you think of P3.
Behind is going to be for 1. Sig there tries to go for a second. Traded out immediately. Fisher College now have to deal with Gunzy, who's on a 6 spree. Has a streak for themselves as well. And utility in the pocket with the rotation out over towards P2. And with 10 seconds left here, Arizona State, they're just fighting for the scrap time here. While Fisher's already got themselves set up across the map.
Fisher gets out again, on top of getting a great bit of time on P2. And, well, this is exactly what you would expect from a respawn-strong team. Gunzy already out to 11-3 with all of the hill time as well. I mean, literally 47 to 55 seconds. So, Mr. Do-It-All, as you know, Sabi, getting everything done for the team for now, but no one else far behind him at that. And again, some slower performances out of Arizona State to start. When you talk about teams that are this respawn strong, what's the first thing you look at this point of a game after a couple of hills? You look at how well you can keep up with the slang. You know, Fisher's going to come out, pack a punch. They're going to find a way to hit. Arizona State need to roll with the punches and stand on their own 2 feet. An early break on P3 is a good way to start.
Like that in from ASU. 2 players watching the push here from Dylan. Rambi gets cut down. So does Dylan, and the push now and the onslaught from Fisher College has let them down with 1 life left remaining here towards the hard point. It's going to be Druxy in the back line. Tries to go for shots on Milo. Snake Heglich with attack. Going to make quick work of 1, but that's going to be great time here for ASU. Last 10 seconds will go their way. Rotation for themselves as well. Arizona State have played a phenomenal opening break to this hard point.
Absolutely have. They get rotation. Sure, they faltered and slipped up from P2 to P3, but they respond with the early break. They nearly tied the game. And again, it was a 2v2 over for New. They're able to win those gunfights, and now cleaning out the back, they can get a full setup here, really start to push Fisher College back, put the pressure on them to try to get in.
8 over the top, going to be blocked out by a trophy system. Snake from Sig going to be looking for Rambi down below, but it's Tiki who's playing up in top bedroom. That makes quick work of 2 from the flank side. Gunzy now trying to look all the way back. He's starting to make his way up here with Dylan Rex as well. They look to the back. Pre-fire shots are good. Trophy system deployment now goes for the long-range shots. Behind the desk is Milo, who's just trying to stake and keep himself alive. Well-placed nade there from Rambi. Goes ahead, cuts him down. Fisher College have broken in for the last 30 seconds, trying to go ahead and make their lead. It's about as big as it was before the P2 break.
Arizona State still battling from the outside in. Trades go even, but it's going to be Arizona State, at least with numbers at the finality of it. So they'll start to garner this last bit of time. Have a marginal lead going into P5, but it has been a battle here through the first 4 hills. I expect it to continue to be the same way throughout. Now you see Dylan Rex starting to catch up to Gunzy with the slang, and a couple other players, Windmills, Tiki, turning things up as far as the machine guns are concerned for the side of Arizona State. Now, they need to break here once again, but playing well as a team and need to continue that gameplay.
Opening hold here by Fisher. Arizona State now on the charge. 1 kill goes the way of Blue. Red traded immediately in is Arizona State, as they have broken with the quickness here time and time again in this hotel hardpoint. Unfortunately, though, it's all for naught here, at least initially. First 25 seconds go predominantly Blue. Dylan's worked his way up to 4 in a row. Arizona State now looking to break from both sides. Inside of Wine, Milo gets good timing behind Dylan Rex. Druxy will fall as well. And a break in here towards the restaurant should be good for the time being, but Gunzy and Rambi have other plans.
They combine for 4 as Gunzi looks to find the triple, continuing to run up the scoreline. Now will hit about 130 points and once again out on rotation. Arizona State, as I was saying, they're grouping up, playing well as a team, but couldn't coordinate the trades well enough there to try to get in for time. And again, Fisher respond with another 30-second lead. You wonder if they'll keep this stiff arm here, as a lot of teams look to do. It can be so hard out of full 60 to try to battle back into this one. On rotation, gunfights won by Fisher College. They're in early once again, but it's Arizona State quick on the prowl.
Good plays by Dylan that allowed Gunzi to flank, get in towards the hard point, now can lay down as Arizona State try to push in once again. Ramby finds 2, and Gunzi once again helping out his teammate to be able to lock down significant time. It was about a 10-point game there at the end of the Restaurant Hill. Fisher College, they'll have extended their lead out to a good picking now. ASU trying to break all the way through the map, but right now Fisher College are just continuing to win the important gunfights. They're keeping the Sun Devils away from the hard point, which is all you need, especially with the rotation back to the middle of the map of P1 where it will be scrappy. You would love to be able to still contest the end of this P6.
Oh, and there you go. A clean kill feed will get him in at least for a little bit of scrap time. Keep this one marginally close. Still going to be about 60 or so seconds as we kick off the second set of rotations. But Fisher College, not only when they get the guns hot are they dangerous, but when they can get a good setup around the hill, it can just be ultimately punishing to try to break in. They're going to start off with a little bit of scrap time for the Sun Devils like they did the last go around, but you know they're going to be fighting for these right-hand spawns. They don't want to have a slip up on P2 again. They can't afford it at this stage in the game.
Tiki thought he might be able to pick up a third there, but it's Windmills who was playing out of wine. Able to pick up Ramby, whole Arizona State in full possession in the middle of the map for the time being. You can see the Fisher College pinch now starting to develop. 3 players working their way around different angles. First one into the hill is going to be Gunzi. Gunfight's going blue in the kill feed, still up top on the catwalk. They've got to deal with an Arizona State player. They'll make quick work of him, and now it's back to the respawn block here for the Sun Devils. Windmills on the head glitch. Down below is Dylan Rex looking for some good shots. 183 to 126, 20 seconds left for the P2 rotations. And right now, Arizona State have themselves the preferred spawns.
15 or so seconds are going to put them over the 200-point mark. Fisher College will be able to win it on this next hill, given that they're getting the rest of the scrap time. Sure, you've got Sig maybe making a last effort through catwalk, through couch side, going to try to find some kills. It's still going to be Arizona State retaining those right side spawns. It'll be up to Fisher to break now, and for Arizona State, it is do or die time. You need a big comeback here.
Milo going to be watching with the cross that he has with Windmills here for the moment. Sig trying to play around the pillar. Gets a bit, and here comes the Fisher College push. They're waiting for everybody to get in position, and that's when they'll start to fly on in towards the hard point. First gunfight goes to Milo, though. Arizona State for the time being on top of the kill feed. Now it's the last one here. Looking for Ramby. The close spawns in from Jewelry. There will be another hit here immediately from Fisher, but the numbers are still going to remain for Arizona State. They'll be able to maintain this time. 30 fresh seconds to get for either of these two teams with Arizona State. They need it to stay in this contention.
And Fisher is not giving this up either, knowing that 20 seconds could put them, half a hill away from winning this. They are going to sell out for the rest of this time. They're going to trust how they've been playing the entirety of this hard point. Even if they lose out on rotation, they're going to trust their ability to get an early break. They'll be sitting about as close as they could to 230 here. Or excuse me, 220. But it's going to be Arizona State on rotation. It's going to be a quick 3v3 as one gunfight already goes the way of Fisher College.
Oh, inside of the hard point, though, it's Ramby. Knows there's one in the back line. Milo turned around the wrong way, and that might be it. That could be the potential break that Fisher College need to put themselves over that 250-point mark.
You get one last break for Arizona, but again, the spread that Fisher College take, one player sits time, the other one zone out, take their long lines of sight, and make you come to them. Arizona State can't even sniff this hard point. 10 seconds now until the win.
Sig trying to push his way forward into the kitchen. He's the last hope here for Arizona State. Great shots onto one. Turns around. Gunzi will fall. Arizona State have tried to break themselves in, and the gunfights go their way for the time. Ramby now on the outside, though. Looking to go ahead and try to contest this for as much time as possible. Allow Fisher College and their reinforcements to get back around this hill. Druxy opens with one. Tiki turns around. Vasnev shots good. Druxy will fall. 1-1 split between each team. And the numbers that have dropped, and as Tiki finds another 2, Arizona State remains alive.
2v1 on rotation. Druxy will find a kill top bed, but you're going to get the quick trade in out of Milo. Now another 2v2 with 2 Fisher players working through the backside. Do you know that they've flipped the net? Do you know that Spawn's a flip? Given that Windmill spawns where he does, all eyes should be facing Spawn.
Now inside of the hard point, though, Gunzi's going to be there for one. Tries to snap to the second, and will. The last one making his sprint across where the B control site will be. No one home for Arizona State and Fisher College. It was a close hard point halfway through, but that second set of rotations really gave them that upper lift that they needed. They'll take map number 1 and start themselves out hot in this best of 7.
Starting out hot is definitely a way to say it. Tiki's still putting on a 27-20 performance. I mean, by no means having a bad game, But again, where Fisher were finding success, it was obviously more than what Arizona could find there, and that's on the back end of Gunzy going nearly double positive with also 215 in the hill. I mean, a fantastic map 1 performance from Gunzy to get this team going early on, whether it be in slaying, whether it be in objective play. Mr. Do It all around the map gets his team to lead them to this map 1 victory. And again, this is what we expected from Fisher coming into this map, right? You talked about how respawn dominant they are whenever they drop the hammer like this. You get a score line like that. Now, sure, Arizona State, they hung around, they tried to do their thing, but it was the slow slaying start that really got them off to a bad foot. And like you said, that second set of rotations is where Fisher really started to tee up.
Something to point out, we had a lot of conversation about Silly on this Fisher roster early on in our pre-show, just kind of building up the storyline for how good this team is. Druxy steps in for Silly in this matchup, though, and Druxy gives him a good slaying performance. Maybe not the best that he's had in quite some time, but again, it's still enough to just kind of take a little bit more pressure off some of the rest of the players around the map. And again, you know, you highlighted Gunzy having that 29 kill performance, but especially the 215 in Hill. That's definitely telling of how good Savvy will be inside of this series. It's nice to see out of him. Clearly, all the players on Fisher, top challengers players inside of the North America scene. On the opposite side for Arizona State, they put up a pretty good challenge there in that first hard point, comparatively to what we thought we were going to see. And there's a reason they got to the grand finals, yes, here in the Open Premier. But you know, not to be a glazer or anything, but this Fisher roster is quite good in a multitude of ways. But that hard point prowess that they boast for themselves absolutely shows out in that hotel there. Going into the S&D, I mean, Arizona State, they might be able to capitalize off of something sweet, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. And now, again, where the pacing kind of got away from Arizona State in map 1 and allowed Fisher to get a 30-point lead that compounded to a 60-point overtime and, again, just became out of reach for them. We talk so much, and I know me as a caster specifically likes to talk about just the change of pace that comes between map 1 and map 2 for a team where maybe things were a little fast, maybe things got away from you for a minute. You can slow things down on a search and destroy, really take it in a round-by-round case for what adjustments you need to make, what you need to do. It's a little less on the fly and a little more forgiving in that regard. And, again, where you're going to catch this Fisher team lapsing, if they do in this series. You tried to capitalize on the few mistakes they made there in the hard point. It kept the score line close, kept you in it right up until the end. Now on this Fortress Search and Destroy, this is going to be a big one because I think people talk about, you know, Mercado being like, you know, the headbang out A, you just sprint down alley, what tax can you find? Fortress, very much that, a very much A-dominated site. You still get your tax out of the way. It's just played a bit more slow. It's not so much as a heads running into walls thing. A lot of teams will sit back offensively and defensively, really work that pick. So same concept, slower in the pacing. And again, teams try to get loose on the flanks, try to do different things, but really working those first bloods are going to be everything for Arizona State to try to get back into this one. And on the flip side, for Fisher College, I mean, they were dominating the slaying column in the hard point. If they continue to run that score up here in the Search and Destroy, well, it should be smooth sailing for them.
We kind of talk about Fortress in a lot of ways where it's going to be a big brash battle between the aggressive SMG players. Who's going to get control of Art first? But specifically on the offensive side, you need to make sure you maintain that art control, because if you allow defensive side to slip the cracks, maybe get around the spawn side, that's when you really start to get trapped at that A site. And I think for Arizona State, the good news is that you got Tiki warm in that first map, which allows that SMG player to kind of have an already inherent bias of saying like, okay, well, I've got an ego now, maybe not in the craziest sense, but at least you have yourself filled up to the brim with positivity after that first map, saying, all right, I can fry these guys, I can go toe-to-toe with them and be able to outslay them, and that's what you need. You need that outstanding mindset to go up against the Fisher roster like this. So yes, Gunzy had a great game with the sub in hand too, don't get me wrong, but across the board, when you're talking about this first blood battle, a lot of it's either going to be one out on the A site with the sniper over the top or maybe attack player, but a lot of those first gunfights happen in the bottom of Art, and that's where I want to see Tiki be the aggressor for Arizona State, because if they can get aggressive and force Fisher to kind of second guess themselves on the map, that's where they can start to get a bit of an advantage for themselves in the search and destroy.
Definitely, disrupt this team, make them uncomfortable, make them have to walk away from, their plan A strategy, make them have to reach a little deeper into the playbook to try to work things out. And again, I like you picking Tiki as the one to lead the charge for that, because on both sides of the coin, offensively and defensively, you get into bottom art, it can dictate the round truly. Those pot shots over the top, sure, attacks that connect, also, something influential, but the way you can get in the bottom art, that opens up the whole bottom side of the map for your team, whether it be giving you a lane to get over to B on the offensive side, or allows you a route through the back to get up close and personal on those snipers, on those tacks, and try to take down a couple more players. So a really riveting Fortress Search and Destroy we have ahead of us. We've laid everything out as far as what Arizona State needs to do to come back. Fisher, what they need to do to keep rolling here. And well, we'll see who ends up playing with their head on their shoulders in this one. Either can tie up the series or take a quick 2-0 lead.
Offense first here for Arizona State. Sig the bomb carrier into Art they go. See what Fisher are trying to do here on defense. They've got themselves spread out across the map, making sure the middle of the map is held down. Arizona State not allowed to get over to the B site whatsoever. Druxy's first blood will give them the advantage here early on. Ramby gets a good stun check around the left side corner. Won't see anybody on the site just yet. Aggressive challenge there from Ramby. Loudly backs off. 2 versus 4 though. Arizona State in the blender here first round.
And Druxy just chowing into double Art with attack. I mean, that's 3 kills on the round. Still not able to get traded with the potential for the ace on the board. Gunzy with him as well. And this last player is going to be Pendant Art, clearing out the map, trying to take his gunfight. Oh, he's got his back turned, but Druxy not able to find it before he rounds the corner. Either way, the pinch comes. Gunzy with the cleanup. Clinical opening round out of Fisher on defense.
Just unfortunate there. Turns around at the wrong time. Got timing at its finest. Gunzy's able to hop out of the top window. A little 360 for sport. So cute when he does that.
So
though. Good round. Just look at the first blood from Druxy and it carries them all the way through.
And now you know, Arizona State, right? They're not going to slow down. They're going to continue running at you, going to take these gunfights. And plain and simple, you've got to be ready to take them. You have to be ready to just chow either way. You were talking about Tiki in that regard. Be ready for these gunfights. Have your guns up, and there you go. Sig gets into bottom Art, gets a mixy form, and now that's going to be bombed down as well in a spot where, yeah, you're going to have to retrieve it. It's not going to be quite a simple scoop, especially with these players already in Art. Druxy with a good trade, but again, problem on the board for Fisher for the moment.
Very seldom do you see a team and get the A site completely taken for themselves, and then they have to retake Art on offense. But Arizona State does a great job at this point working through that aggression. Dylan almost gets a shot through the doorway. If that would have connected and not just been a hit marker, would have been the craziest kill I would have seen all year. Deadass.
Actually would have. Twins Gunzy 360 and the potential for that. We're going to see something nuts tonight. I feel it. The players we have in these lobbies with all 8 of them, I really hope we get something special. It seems like we always get treated to something, but yeah. Already, again, lightning fast 2 rounds off the board, both defensive heavy, both countered with aggression for the first bloods. And again, now you start to wonder, okay, who gets too aggressive? Who tries to bite off more than they can chew? And again, on the flip side, who's making that quick counter? I know we're talking so much about both sides of the coin, but with teams at this level, yeah, you talk about what each of them can do in the smallest of ways that can make big differences in the round. And that's what we're looking at here. But Fisher back on defense once again, and they're playing a bit more passive, still get the first blood.
Not going to be able to connect with the sniper, but Druxy has put in work here on the map so far. 4 kills for him. The rest of the team combined for 3. Shots in the back into Tiki are good from Gunzy. Now as he's trying to push over towards the site, pretty sure he heard out. Windmill's going to go ahead for an aggressive challenge there. It's a nice little bait for his teammate. Now it's a 1 versus 1. There's 35 seconds left here in the round. Gunzy might get the advantage here. Tries to look over towards the left. Good timing, though, from Milo as he hops out. He's trying to make a route all the way through the middle of the map. And will Gunzy be able to read this? Checks the spawn side. Doesn't see anybody on the trucks. Back to the bottom of Art. Milo doesn't spot anybody on the bomb just yet. He's playing a dangerous game of Fate right now. As Gunzy looks to reposition himself for a potential gunfight here. Milo knows that he can just play the time. Gunzy's going to be forced to play this gunfight here, and he's not going to have enough time for the defuse. Milo plays it perfectly, sprints around the doorway, gets out onto the site. Gunzy wins the one-on-one, but it's the round win that goes to Arizona.
Smart play with the deady. Rewrap through mid and just take a different angle. You laid it out perfectly. Plays the time to a T. Those Gunzy has to take the gunfight. And then a round where they had the man disadvantage, find a way to strike back and still win overall. They take a 2-1 advantage here in the search.
Arizona State needed to capitalize here in S&D. Have themselves a good chance to extend this series to at least a 5th map. You are just joining us here for the Starleague playoffs. The Open Premier Finals here. It is a best-of-7 series. It's going to be the first team to 4. We crown the champion of the Open Premier playoffs. Gunzy getting himself all the way back to the spawn side. Hooks the nade up. Won't find Tiki with it. No information gathered for Fisher College just yet. They know that they have that ace site within their grasps if they should choose to take it. Ramby out on the outside looking for a flank that could come through. Bomb will be down with 45 seconds on the timer.
Tiki trying to get a look here through closed. Wallbang shots will ring out. See if you can find anything around Gallows, but Windmills maybe trying to slip through the bottom side on the flank and does. Ends up getting through double stairs. Finds the first blood. It's quickly traded, but back and forth we go. A 2v2. 25 seconds to work with. Clock actively working against ASU.
That sniper was big because now they can force all the way back off to their spawn. Arizona State is forced to push at them with the sniper overlooking. Over towards the stage side. Milo, though, in the top window, tries to get Dylan cut down. Doesn't have enough time to find both of these kills and get all the way back across the map for the defuse. And even though he'll find 2, he's going to quickly realize that he is completely out of luck. Fisher College do the exact same thing Arizona State do the round before. They play the time to a niche. They tie things up at 2-2.
In both of those rounds, the defense struck first for first blood. So from a man disadvantaged situation, both teams know what they want to do to adapt. And plain and simple, that's objective play. And being, color commentator, I love seeing the objective work that teams take. I think so often in Search, the bomb's forgotten about at times. And again, use it as basically a 5th man on the map with you. When you have that clock working against them, it adds pressure to the situation. It makes it more tense to try to hunt down those kills. Gives you quite the advantage. Both teams taking advantage of that early. Now we're tied up at 2 apiece.
Thorn will open in front of him. Stun check is going to be good. Windmills. First kill on Gunzi, who was trying to get aggressive in towards the top of Art. Druxy nade up toward the top window. Well placed. And a snipe shot from Dylan will find Tiki, but Sig's good trade will leave things at a 2 versus 2 standstill. Bomb down inside of top Art. Arizona State should be able to get this quite quickly. Got to worry about Ramby, who's coming on a flank.
Here, Ramby's at the back. I don't even know that you're going to read this. You're going to get shot in the back. There it is. You're going to try to chow out a back window. Milo deals a good bit of damage, and at least where this one player could be, you're trying to hit the reposition, no Deddy to work with, so you're just hoping for a free kill here. Fisher playing it split, but not giving you anything. 40 seconds and dwindling, and you have to scoop bomb. They know it's down here on stage.
Roxy's just playing a point of contact throughout the middle of the map, and as Ramby's on the back head glitch here, it's going to be so difficult for the player on Arizona State to be able to walk away with a win here in a 1v2. Fisher College will win the 2 back-to-back rounds for themselves. Once again, we'll reclaim the lead here in the S&D.
Good play. Strike for a first blood once again. Druxy up to 7 and 3 to get things started. Got 3 good kills in the opening round and really has been rolling since then. The rest of the team starting to get on board. Gunzi out to a 5-3 performance. And Arizona State, right, is just going to be making little adjustments on either side of the bomb that are going to pay dividends for you when you're getting first bloods. Well, capitalize on your rounds around that. Now we see a lot of aggression coming in for Windmills. He's already across.
Oh. Same play here from Arizona State. They try to get aggressive into the bottom of Art. Nobody from Fisher shows their face just yet. They'll force Windmills to back all the way off of this A site. And now Gunzi's made himself all the way up onto the bomb. Well, planned it for a 45-second timer restriction on Arizona State for a retake.
And Milo gets back down from this outer edge too, but they're all in bottom Art. But again, Ramby is there to clean things up. Trades go back and forth for now. Arizona State with a couple more bodies here stacked up in Art. They need to find these kills though, because again, already 30 seconds on the clock for them to work this defuse.
Windmills trying to play up the stage. Good kills there. 2 versus 2 here towards the end. Druxy with 1 over towards the top. Windmills will snap to the second. Dylan Rex gets unfortunate timing, trying to pop the dead silence there late. And Arizona State, a round that looked like they were going to lose, they end up on top of and have a 3-3 standstill once again in the S&D.
Just a bunch of timings there in the back. You're trying to pop Deddy. You also have the pistol to work with, and you line up a great way to tie things up for Arizona State. A nice, wind of confidence in your sails here as well, to be able to continue going toe-to-toe with Fisher here in the Search and Destroy. We talked about it being, quote-unquote, their weaker mode at times, but again, Arizona State very much doing their own thing. Neither team playing a bad Search and Destroy through 6 rounds. Now as we start to enter the second half of this map, we'll see who really turns things up.
Mills forces Dylan to back off. I believe he still has that sniper here trying to work a first blood for Fisher. Sig will get onto the site here for free. There's still 2 players here towards the double doors. They can play for a trade with one another. Hip fire. Shot gonna be good. It was a hit marker that came in. The Dylan Rex snipe. Druxy was able to finish him up with attack. He's up to 10 kills here in the S&D, and we're only halfway through it.
And you're just trying to find an opening, but Dylan Rex still watching that top side through open. You're trying to get to the bottom, but now 3 arrows are going to be watching this double Art cross, hearing a lot of this noise. And yeah, if you're Windmills, you got Deddy Pop. You're not making a play, and I think he's committing to the Superman now. Going to dive out here. Unfortunately, going to run into the iron. Woo! Run into the irons of Ramby, but they get B for free, and he puts an iron in his eye. Now they're going to get this bomb down and have to retake it.
Oh, Windmills, will you be able to get across? No, you were trying to hop up on top of the box, but now Gunzi's there. If I'm Gunzi, I'm just hopping the defuse here. You know where Tiki's going to be over by P1. Dylan gets the snipe from across the map, and they shut things down here. Arizona State, it was a wild kill from Windmills that allowed them to get over towards that B-bomb site. But as soon as that bomb goes down... Dude, what is... I think he just wanted the defuse, I'm not going to lie. Give the minus points.
Yeah, well earned. Actually, a couple snipes that round, and Fisher back on top again. It was a good play out of Arizona State. The knife kill was great because I thought he was sure as dead. Superman's out the window. Finds a kill that keeps him alive in the round. Unfortunately, though, not enough awareness of where the other 3 players are. End up getting picked. Fisher College take the round. Like you said, Druxy out to 10-4 just halfway through the surge is crazy.
Now, this sniper from Dylan has really put a damper on how Arizona State have tried to play over towards the stage of A. And as Druxy's able to find Sig, who got aggressive once again towards the bottom of Art, things have started to been figured out just a bit here. As Fisher are now learning to adjust to what Arizona State is trying to throw at them time and time again on the defensive side. Bomb down at this A site, 45 seconds left. Dylan will open up with the second of the round. 2 players for Arizona State on the retake here is going to be difficult.
Challenge indeed. They know you're playing around statue. Tiki's sure going to get back into cover, but unfortunately moving the wrong way on the map. Has to stand down and reposition completely before he's able to do anything else. Druxy still lying in wait. Now just 1 player left standing. Fisher College going to be at map point here. 1 away from taking a 2-0 series and a best of 4. At least for them to be able to close this one out in the best of 7 series.
And this is just wonderful for Fisher. Reading that Sig, the last 3 defensive rounds, Arizona State is pushed up into bottom Art. You get that first kill to Druxy. The rest of the map is yours at that point. And once you get that A site completely cleared out for yourselves, you get that bomb down, you can just work the post plant. You've got 2 bodies to stack on every one for Arizona State at that point. It's all smooth sailing from there on out. Windmills 8-7 leading the way here from Arizona State. Tiki, we called on him to be the person that needed to be the aggressor for the Sun Devils, and unfortunately here he has not had the performance we were hoping to see out of him. Sig falls as Milo does as well. Tiki, a good trade there with attack in hand, finds Ramby, but it's still a 3 versus 2. Fisher in the lead. Bomb could get stuck in the middle of the map here. Windmills needs to get into cover quick.
Yeah, not going to. And now Tiki left in a 1v2. You have to get bombed. Again, I feel like every POV we're watching Arizona State, they are just sprinting, trying to dive behind cover because they cannot evade the absolute onslaught that is Fisher College here. And for Fisher, I think one quick thing to note, even before the scoreboard gets up, won the first bloods in every round but 2. And even then, we're still able to take one of those 2 rounds as they had the man disadvantage. So, look, Surge can be a simple game at times. You dominate the first blood column, you're probably going to dominate in the overall score line. They take this one 6-3. I mean, where Arizona State was hanging was whenever they were getting the first bloods, and they took a round off of Fisher after they were blooded as well. They just ran out of gas at the halfway point of things. And from there, as you said, Fisher, they make the adjustments at the sooner portion, continue to run away with the last 3 rounds, and close it out faster than the first 6 rounds have gone through, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's tippable there from Druxy. Great performance. We kind of noted again, you know, who was stepping in for Silly. It was Druxy. And as Druxy pushed his way into the spotlight there in the search and destroy, well, there's a reason that anybody on that Fisher roster can step in at any time for one another, because the culture that they have built there, with the prowess of players that they have, definitely allow them to have the utmost skill at any given point in time. So everybody's ready. It's the next man up mentality for that team. And once again, they show it there in the search and destroy. So Arizona State, unfortunately, down 0-2 now, going into a control. The Sun Devils, they had a good look early on in the hard point. Halfway through that S&D, it looked good, but then Fisher wins 3 straight there towards the end, puts the exclamation mark on it, and now the series is drawing to a potential close here. Control still ahead. We're guaranteed 4 maps in this best of 7 for the Open Premier Finals. Cash right now, there needs to be a significant change in the way that Arizona State are playing, or else this one is going to end in a 4-0.
Definitely so. I mean, again, you're seeing glimpses, right, of Arizona State having things together, and when they do, it's very competitive, very what's coming next for either team, right? It's so competitive. But when Fisher continues to make the adjustments, that's when they start to pull ahead and create that, you know, difference in the gameplay that showed in the end of the hard point, showed there at the end of the search and destroy. So for Arizona State, it comes down to, we've seen that they can hang with the likes of Slang, right? Sure, I mean, again, they still put up crazy numbers for Fisher, but we saw what TQ was able to do in map 1. Again, at least at the start, right, you had players involved. Windmills was getting in the first blood column a lot, finding ways to hang, so it hasn't been 1-for-1 kills as far as that's concerned, but they can hang with the pacing of Fisher. It's a matter of being able to make the adjustments in their strategical gameplay around the map. Again, getting blooded the last, 5 rounds, they gave up first bloods out of the 9 that were played. Definitely not a way you want to go. And for a control, Again, if you're new, it's going to be a combination of kind of the respawn and search and destroy gameplay. Lives do matter to an extent. You only get 30 of them, but you also need to have the strategy of how do we rotate around the map, what points, what lanes do we want to fill and try to take. We're going to be on Expo here, so a newer map as that as well. And for Arizona State, yeah, they're going to have to make adjustments in their strategical approach to this one. They were working well as a team at the starting point of the hard point. They kept it close. Again, it can't be individual chows. You got to work it through, talk it through as a team, even in those split-second moments.
Expo Control, as Cash mentioned already, newer map inside of our map set here in the Modern Warfare 2 season. Arizona State looking to capitalize on things, and it looks like we're not going to have a full lobby again here for a respawn, so we'll probably come back to our faces. Hello, how are we doing? Hi, great to see you guys again. So another bit of technical issues here, so we'll get those sorted out in the background. I'll finish the point I was making about Expo Control in this Arizona State roster when we come back from a break. Don't go too far. The playoffs continue, and the grand finals here for the Open Premiere are just around the corner after this. We finally have seemed to get ourselves in a lobby. So Fisher College up 2-0 in this best of 7, looking to go ahead and put things on series point with a closeout and a control. Arizona State trying to keep themselves alive. Typically we'd say this is the time for a reverse sweep to start, but things not over quite yet for Arizona State. Lots of hopefuls here inside of this Expo control, looking to go ahead and capture the A and the B sites right now. They've got their forces separated. Here for Fisher College, though, they're in unanimous decision to get back over towards A to try to shut things down. Milo will get knocked off the point. They'll go ahead and decrease things back down to no ticks of progress on A, as they are on B, though, here on offense. That second tick getting oh so close to getting completed. Fisher College really not throwing any bodies at it either.
I really do like that play off the break to go 2-2 with it, because Milo did exactly what he needed to. Found a killer, so played his life to a T, and now the B site is captured with little to no resistance. Again, a great opening break for him. Now, over 2 minutes on the clock to try to work towards this A site. The problem's going to be on the other side, though, not getting put in the spawn trips that we see Expo allow for the defensive side to implement. They're going to have to work through the spawn, try to find Ramby, who has had a decently hot hand here in the respawns. Arizona State, though, already working towards this A site, already working towards this first tick of progress.
Sure, they know what they want to do here. Attack the left side of the map, make sure they can force Arizona State to spawn as far north on the mini-map as they possibly can. It's going to allow them not only to hold themselves in the spawn trap, but keep that A zone locked down to a T. Still not a tick of progress earned on the A site, and Gunzy is going on a tear in the spawn side now. Up to 5 kills here in the control. Druxy, after his great S&D performance, slow start with an 0-4 performance. As Dylan Rex is on the flank, and they're still trying to push the spawn side. That clock is continuing to drain down.
I just look at how much real estate Arizona have. None. And for Fisher College, it is 80% of the map. I mean, there is a small corner you're spawning in. I don't like that they're trying to come out of spawn and take 1v1s, given that you're walking into pre-aim to Fisher. Send a couple people through one. Try to find at least one lane you can carve out for yourself. Milo's going to line up a couple. There's always going to be one more for Fisher. It is back to the starting blocks. Even if you can find a lane at this point, you're only down to 2 team pushes left. It has been disaster ever since that B capture here for the Sun Devils.
You know, I mentioned that they're ticking down the clock, but they're also draining the lives of Arizona State in the process. So as they try to get back over towards this A site, at least they've gotten themselves out of their spawn. They can start pushing their way up the map, but they need to be careful because Dylan is starting to push his way into the spawn side yet again. Sig from down below, Druxy first blood in this engagement here between all 4 players of each side. And as Windmills is the only one to come through for red, and Arizona State is forced back to the spawn side, they've got one more team push at this to make it stick.
And they're going to try to find Windmills here. He's going to have to make the move first. You let Fisher find you. You're going to be going back to the respawn block. At least he's able to get another. But you can see that Gunzy has eyes on him, still winning a couple of gunfights. Unfortunately, no teammates left to reinforce him at this point, and 20 seconds left. You're basically trapped here in this top pool building. Going to try to work a way out. 1v11 at this point. Fisher do a great job of damage control, though they give up the B site. They know exactly what the game plan is going into this setup hold. After that, take a good round 1 on the board.
Yeah, a 3v11 is already a miracle, but against the Fisher roster that has been out slaying you at every stretch of this round, that's a different task in its entirety. So, Arizona State will falter there in round number 1 on their offensive attempt. They go on the defensive side here this time. Fisher College will have an opportunity to take a 2-0 lead inside of this control. Things have started to slow down a bit from Arizona State in the slaying department. Maybe Fisher College can take advantage of this and go up an early 2-0.
All 4 players sprinting ahead towards this A site with Dylan Rex overlooking things on ramp to try to win one of those opening gunfights, and does. Now we're going to have a quick contestant from Arizona State, but expect them to quickly take care of this where they can. Milo and Tiki combined for a few, so they'll at least wipe the point for the time being, but with Gunzy still alive, you're always going to have a problem to deal with. Sig able to get the clean up kill here. You take control of the A site for now. You're going to try to implement a spawn trap. Not quite as aggressive, but Fisher College going to have to work their way out of this one.
Starting to come through, Arizona State laying in bay for the moment. They've got themselves in behind the bar. Windmills playing the snake angle, gets all the way out, still staying himself alive, tries to take the gunfight versus Ramby, weakens him up, and the rest of the teammates are there for the help. Druxy lays down though. 2-2 split now for Arizona State. They remain on top of it. 3 life advantage here to the side of offense. Gunzy's down below. They're still trying to push over towards this B zone. Tiki up top will go ahead and fall. And Arizona State, they've at least gone ahead and weathered the storm for the moment.
And they're continuing to bleed that clock. Stopped for a moment. That is until Sig's able to find a kill, but now for Fisher, they're trying to group up. They're trying to get towards this B site, given that it's closer off spawn, and the Sun Devils have done a good job cutting off this mid-map wrap over towards this A site. Dylan Rex finally wins one of those gunfights, but for now, Arizona State, they're hanging on defensively. As long as they can keep bleeding this clock, it puts more and more pressure on Fisher to try to decide for one of these sites.
And the thing that they're doing is they're playing more bodies together. It's not single channel gunfights across the map like we saw in their first offensive attempt. Everybody is at least throwing bodies at multiple gunfights, where it's making Fisher College have to decide where they want to go next. Druxy, though, Dylan Rex, and Ranby will all find kills around the map, and now as Druxy finds the last nail in the coffin, Arizona State have to go back, try to fight this one together again. 4 life advantage now for Fisher College here on offense. First tick of progress at B, starting to make their presence known over at the B site as well. And as Ranby has now gotten himself up to a 5-kill streak, the Gunzy Nade will cut down Sig, and everybody from Arizona State once again now just playing by themselves.
Yeah, they went on a 10-team spree there before the players started falling. They split their forces, try to take 2 sites at once, but again, they haven't captured either. So as long as they step up this point, the clock will still be dwindling, and it lets Arizona State get back in position. They're going to drain this second tick of progress that didn't come in at A. B might be done and dusted at this point, but only going to have less than 90 seconds when they get this captured. Arizona State, you just need to make a 1.5-minute long hold. Another unfortunate thing is that you only have 6 lives.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my next point. It's like, yeah, you know, you have time to work with here, and maybe it's not your best friend, but that life count now being only 1 respawn remaining for these Sun Devils is going to be pretty much a nail in the coffin here, as Fisher have already got themselves back over towards the A side. As Sig falls, 3 lives here for Arizona State left in the round. It was a 3 versus 11 in the previous one, now a 3 versus 10. 2 lives here for Arizona State as they're trying to push back over towards the point, and Tiki by his lonesome, the only one alive. Druxy challenge around the right side corner. Vaznev shots are good, but a trade in immediately will give Fisher the 2-0 lead here in the control, 1 round away from putting the series on match point.
And because we're keeping things positive, because we're taking, you know, the glass half full approach, for Arizona State, this really isn't supposed to sound backhanded in any way. Because they bled the lives, they did not get all 6 ticks of progress. So if you can turn things around, if you really can get things going here, in this second offensive try, you do have the ability to make it up. And if, again, it gets pushed to this into round 5, a defense still is on the cards for you. Now, unfortunately, you haven't been able to take the other side of the coin. So being completely realistic, I do see Fisher looking to close this one out here, given how stout their defensive attempt was the last time. But at least if we're looking at things in a more positive aspect, that still is on the cards for him. But with Gunzy gunning like that, definitely going to be a tall mountain to climb for you to try to battle back into this one.
I'm so glad that you can play the devil's advocate with the glass half full, because I am the most pessimistic person right now, because Fisher College are on a tear. Gunzy trying to push his way forward on 5 in a row, looking for a cruise missile, and will surely earn it. 5 lives drained off of either side at the moment, but as Fisher College will dip below 6 lives. Now the A zone starting to be progressed here. 3 players on the stack, trying to get the second tick, and it will be in. Contention now, though, to the side of Fisher. Double kill potentially on the cards for Ramby, but will be cut down before he can make quick work of that team. Cruise missile in from over the top, but a well-placed nade from Dylan Rex will shut things down. Won't allow the A site to be progressed. And now the clock will be stopped yet again.
Arizona State decision time. Do they want to go for this last tick of progress and risk bleeding lives as they cross mid-map? Or do they want to do the plan that worked out for them last time? Get over towards this B site, find an opening, find a way to keep bodies here to stack. The difference is Fisher going to be a little more prepared for this, as they got Ramby playing deep over towards the site. You see the Sun Devils doing a shuffle around the map, trying to figure out what lane they possibly have open, and those are through the back. They do have a couple avenues they can take, but again, it's up to what Tekin can find here in and around Spa.
Aggression with the Vaznev over on the B site. Does not want to let this Arizona State roster in. 3 kills, all blue. Windmill's the last one there. Ramby knows he's around them lurking somewhere. As Gunzy does fault, they have information on where Arizona State will play from, but it's only 2 ticks of progress over on A. Sure, it's only one that they'll need. The lives once again going the opposite way. And as Dylan Rex finds 3, Ramby finds another. 20 seconds left here in the round. It's going to be a foot race, not only over towards A, but just to try and stop the clock. Try and get some sort of opportunity to extend out the control here. But the lives just continuing to tick down. Fisher continuing to find all the kills that they need around the map. Nobody going to be able to get over towards A. Nobody going to be able to get on the B site. And as Dylan Rex finds himself on 8 in a row to end out this control, Fisher College take a 3-0 lead in this best of 7 grand final.
Dominant, imposing their will, whatever series and sequence of adjectives you'd like to use for this Fisher team as far as respawns are concerned. Devastating. 26 and 11 for Dylan Rex here. And you know what? One thing I will say, obviously, you know, we've seen controls with spawn traps. I'm obviously going to be talking about Fortress here for a moment. Expo is still more entertaining in a spawn trap than Fortress ever was. So, again, I'm so glad, better late than never, that we got Expo in the map pool.
Yeah, it's nice to see Expo starting to not only be a team favorite, but kind of a fan favorite in a lot of ways too, because there is a lot of action that this map does provide. And a lot of the gunfights that are now taking place are out in the open. There's a great availability for trades. Teams are starting to figure it out, so they're more willing to play the map when it comes up in their veto process. So I think in a lot of ways, these teams not only are happy to be able to start learning Expo, but this is going to give you another opportunity to one-up your opponents. If it does slip through, if another team's not maybe comfortable on a CLO or a hotel, you know, they leave it up to chance on an Expo. And if you've practiced it enough, and your team is comfortable in the slang and being able to play around in one another, I think that's what Expo does the most. It rewards that team play and it rewards the chemistry that you build around your teammates.
It absolutely does. And Fisher showing to a T why they have, you know, one of the utmost team chemistry oriented teams here in the collegiate space. And, you know, to talk about kind of the elephant in the room for Arizona State, now we are on series point. You know, you and I being candid, probably going to say that, again, you don't expect it to go too much differently. They've played it close through the first couple of maps. There we really see the explosion and Fisher trying to put this one away. My worry here, not only just being able to watch this gameplay, but seeing Arizona State at this point, you break a team down when you start to hit them harder and harder as the series goes on, and it gets that much harder to bounce back from. You have to reverse sweep and win the next 4 maps in order to take this series against Fisher College. That is only getting more and more potent as the series continues. They want this one bad. They want it, you know, in a very flawless fashion. And for Arizona State and the Sun Devils, I'm just worried that, you know, the wind's been knocked out of them at this point.
Yeah, and to go back to a previous point we made at the top show, right? You know, this is a Fisher roster that a lot of people had not only pegged as a very good team in Open Premier and probably would win it all pretty swiftly. This is a team that is continuously beating and playing well up against the top collegiate Call of Duty rosters within not only North America, but anywhere around the world. You can put them up against any collegiate COD team, and they will probably be able to go toe-to-toe and beat them. This roster, again, we must remind you, is not technically at its full strength. Although Druxy has had a phenomenal series and has played great for this Fisher roster, Silly is the one who is going to be the one as a permanent 4-man on this team. And if you don't know the name Silly or Justin Fargo, let me remind you, a multi-time Call of Duty champion on the world stage. So that definitely doesn't help the chances of teams that are looking to take them down in the future. There's only really one team in collegiate esports that I think has a chance to take on this team, or maybe two. And of course, those are the teams that are going to be duking it out for the grand final in the NACE Starleague Varsity Premier playoffs in just a week's time out in Indianapolis. And of course, that's Northwood and Oklahoma Christian. If you're not familiar with those two schools, you should be, to say the very least.
Absolutely. They are two of the most heavy hitting squads that we have in the collegiate space. Oklahoma Christian maybe on, kind of like a newer tear, but Northwood, I mean, if you were just watching the Rocket League series that was on before this, they kind of did their thing against Illinois State as well. It is a very awarded school in the space through and through, multiple esports titles. Call of Duty, no different for them. They are expected in all of their leagues to be the favorite to take everything. They're the ones to take down at this point. And Fisher even maybe trying to get ready for that, right? And the ability to face that in one of their matchups here. But for Open Premier, as far as that's concerned, Fisher doing their thing, like you said, as swiftly as maybe you would have expected. Unfortunately, that, pans out for maybe some lackluster, series of times. No exciting, crazy madness going on. Again, can't write Arizona State off completely, though. They do have a chance to bounce back, right? The series is not over by any means. They're going to a Mercado hardpoint, one that, I mean, if you're not repped on it at this point, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing? A lot of teams, whether or not it's a comfort thing on Mercado, you've at least played a lot of it, so you know how the map's going to work and flow. And for Arizona State, it'll be your last chance to battle back here. It's been a while since we've also seen a hard point, right? This is map 4. It has been a few maps since we've gotten it in the cycle, and they played that hotel close. You got to give it to them where they were going toe-to-toe with Fisher in the early parts of it. It's, again, not letting those big plays happen like we just saw even in the control, right? Gunsy going on a 3-speed, Dylan Rex lining up 3-4 at a time. Druxy's having a good series, Ramby having a quiet, stellar series as well. So we know all 4 players for Fisher are teeing up at this point. Need to see Tiki start to find form again. Milo's really been a walking 2-piece at times, getting good trades for his teammates, Windmill as well. So the team just a step under Fisher, but again, with that ability to explode here, it's really the conversation off the scoreboard for Arizona State that'll get them back in this. What is the team camp conversation around, hey, let's keep our heads in it, let's just dig deep, take it one hill at a time, again, see where that puts us at the end of the map. You can't think about the hole that you're in, just think about that it's 0-0 going into this Mercado. Let's see who can get the 250 first.
The thing about Mercado that I love to just kind of put out there for the sake of Fisher is that very quickly in this map, you can get off to a rapid start. And by rapid, I mean those first 2-3 hard points. You could very easily be looking at a 120 to 130 point lead on your opponent if they're not able to get that slang there. For Fisher, I just hope the mental hasn't been too far chalked out the window after these first 3 maps. You've played at least those first 2 maps close in the first half. After that, it's been pretty lackluster. And then that third control there, and maybe it just wasn't enough practice on the map, or I'm not sure exactly what I can say that might lessen the blow of the tough loss that they had there. But I think in the general scheme of things, it's just how good Fisher were playing. They were winning their one-on-one gunfights. They were playing around the map with one another to kind of the utmost standard that we expect out of them. And realistically on a Mercado, I don't think that changes all that much. And as we get ready to hop into the game, I'll say this, Arizona State, you got to play your best card, baby, or else this is going to be a championship here for Fisher in the Open Premier.
Absolutely the case. And again, the players know that even better than we do at times, right? They know how well they're going to have to play to take down the squad, to even get a map back, to try to rally back in this series. And for Mercado, you were kind of touching on it, how, snowballing the effect can be of the first few hills on this one. And for Arizona State, if you're not winning those rotations to from P1 to P2 and getting bottom canteen control, or even winning to P3, this one has, given that there are, 7 hills, and now we're going to have a moment here to kind of expand on this point even more, but Obviously, Ricardo's going to have 7 hills on it. So a couple more money hills here and there. You survive to P4, even if you're down after the first 3. P4 can still be an opportunity late in the rotation for you to find a way to get a full 60. So again, we're trying to paint this in the way that Arizona State, again, you've got a lot of opportunity here on this map to specifically rally back if you don't have that control. They could very well come out and have that 120-point lead. So we've laid everything out for Arizona State as we look to get back into this lobby. But again, for them, it's still going to be quite the challenge, but it is definitely an opportunity there for them to take.
Yeah, we've been getting trolled a little bit here by both of these teams. Lobbies keep breaking and whatnot. Again, we want to watch the matches as much as you guys do, but we're going to have to send it to a break, figure things out. And when we come back, Fisher will try to close this thing out in 4. Mercado Hardpoint, Fisher College up 3-0 in a best-of-7 series. Close things out here for the final time and be crowned champions once again in the Open Premier side of the NACE Starleague. Arizona State trying to start their reverse sweep, trying to get themselves momentum in the series. But first and foremost, they need to take a map off of a very, very talented Fisher College roster. Windmills will be the first player into the middle of the map. Gunfight 1. Ramby falls. Druxy there, but Dylan for a trade will give Fisher College the advantage in the middle of the map. All the signs pointing to them being able to hold things down. Everybody trying to make sure they're in a good position to get spawns for P2.
An immediate flip comes in for Fisher after bullying out mid-map, pushing through tunnel, and now it's going to be Arizona State on the rebreak, not only for P1, but trying to get across for P2, and Windmill starting to tee up here, at least early on. A couple big gunfights go his team's way. They look to get the rebreak, and for the next 20 seconds, expect that to be the thing here. Sun Devils garnering time, at least with a 10 or so point lead, but any P1 time you can get going to bode well for you. Kills back and forth, 3 at a time in the feed, it appears to be, but Fisher with bodies, with Gunny for now. Druxy having himself a series, stepping in for Silly, as we had said, and really leading the way for this team at times in this series tonight, specifically Arizona State. What do you have left in you? A small lead going into next, but you lose out on rotation.
Sig shots good. Gunzy will fall as they start to continue to push forward. Windmills on the back line will get cut down by Dylan Rex. Cantina broken into for the moment here by Arizona State. Still bodies around the hill. 1 versus 1 off-screen engagement. Could be in here in just a moment. Dylan Rex trying to go ahead and in for the contestation. It will find Sig. So Fisher College, although they allowed the Sun Devils to break in for a moment, will find themselves in the bottom of Cantina, soaking up that oh so precious time.
Still trying to battle back after a 10-point deficit. Get themselves tied up and leading this one. Out on rotation is going to be Ramby, so a big 1v1 for Tiki to take. He gets eyes on him first and is able to win that one. So Sun Devils will control the top side of the map, but Fisher slowly but surely going to start to send numbers that way as they're going to lock down the last bit of scrap. That kill coming in on Windmills. And now get your irons up if you're the Sun Devils, because Fisher's coming down the push.
In the scrap time here, and if you're Fisher, if you're able to break in, you're smiling, but Arizona State, they need this hold. Might be the biggest hold that you can have so far here in the series. Ramby will hop out the doorway. Tiki's able to get down and behind 1. Gunzy will get the trade, so it'll be a 3v3 over towards the point. Here comes the pinch. 3 different lanes that the side of Fisher are trying to push through at the moment. Suncheck going to be there. Semtex out as well. Dylan not going to be able to run away from it, but still survives with 27 HP. Break is in. 3 kills go their way, and immediately Fisher College are able to get in through the doors of the warehouse. Arizona State not able to bounce back just yet. Still a 1 versus 1 over on the field. Off-screen engagement goes the way of Gunzy, and Fisher will hold on to the hill.
Oh, and Tiki did everything he could. Found a couple of kills, but just 1 too many bodies left. As you said, Gunzy wins the gunfight on a 4th spree now, going into P4 here in about 20 seconds, and Arizona State chalking it up. Again, when things are said and done, they'll be down just 40 points. So this is that point I was talking about going into the break, where you survive, you hang with the squad up until P4. If you can lock it down, you can get a full 60. Now, again, you've been broken, at least at the P3 turn. Tail in by Fisher. You can make a big stand here. You can rally back, get the lead swung back in your way, but already quickly through alley. It's going to be all 3 players for Fisher pushing through.
Oh, that's just beautiful snaps there from Dylan. We'll throw a trophy system out. Thought Druxy was going to be there for the cover. Had streaks going for himself. But Gunzy on 4 will also fall on the opposite side of the screen. Sig a double. Tiki with 1. Fisher shut down on their first push here into P4. And as they look to go ahead and hold down this back alley, the hit is going to be coming from the top side of the map, with Dylan the first one up for a challenge. Forced to back off as Tiki. Team kill in on Milo. Dylan Rex to the middle of the map, now into the back line. Stun check in from Arizona State for the moment is good. Gunzy through the front of the hill. Dylan Rex is there as well, and Fisher will break in.
And that team kill is just one of those mistakes you cannot afford to be making at this stage of things. You were close to tying things up. At least a 20-point deficit is what you would close to 2. And now for Fisher, you look to run up the scoreline again, crossing the century mark. And maybe Milo, the only one left in position to try to contest for this bit of scrap time, not even going to do that. You already have Fisher aggressive through mid-map, spawning up close yellow van here to try to break into P5 early, and Arizona State not even in their setups fully.
We'll go gunfights coming up here for Fisher. They spot Sig out towards middle. Windmills will fall as Ramby is now trying to make his way around the doorway. He's done a little dance with destiny here. Few of the players in from Fisher. Now Ramby's able to find another gunfight in and out of the doorway, trying to just wait for his teammates to come in through the backside of the hill. It will be good enough to allow Gunzy in for the gunfight. Outside of the hardware house, though, Fisher College have now started to lock things down. Almost doubled up in Arizona State's score. They cannot win a gunfight to get back towards this hill.
I was going to say, you are simply getting gunned right now if you're Arizona State. Cannot get anything going for yourself. As far as kills are concerned, Dylan Rex out the 15, Druxy 13, Gunzy 11, and for Ramby, I mean, yeah, you're just trying to find hill time here and there, really just facilitating things around for your squad. But when your other 3 players are playing this lights out this early on in the hard point, well, maybe eclipsing that halfway point, it's something you can sit back and just do what you need to.
A lot of comebacks on this map. Ramby laying in wait. Doesn't he needs his teammates here to make a succinct push over towards this hill. Sig with the Vaznev is pushed up close. He's been able to find one of these Fisher players. Gunzy now trying to challenge him with his teammates. Stun check around the corner, won't be able to find anything. 2 players now cut down from Fisher, just trying to get back over towards the hill, but they're not allowed to push up past the alleyway just yet. Top of the cantina held down by this Arizona State roster. Windmills kill onto Ramby. Tiki trying to make his way backboard. There's 3 players now pushing in for Fisher College. Gunzy hopping around the corner, able to get one, now finds a second. Dylan there with a knife out, will get behind the third. Hoppa Gunzy. 4 in a row, 15 and 8. Continuing to fly up the map, he's able to find almost all of them again. Line him up and knock him down, baby.
And man, that said about Arizona State, I just didn't like how lateral it was. You had players playing hedges whenever the call should have been ended. Look, at least 2 or 3 are stacked up in alley. Tiki was slow to get to bottom cantina, ends up running into an already ready Fisher player at the bottom of cantina. That allows them to get a break once again. Scoreline out to over 100, about 120 points when it's all said and done. And the Sun Devils left scratching their heads, misplay after misplay. Fisher College putting you down for it. And now with the ability to win it on this hill, Alex, this game could be over in the first set of rotations.
It could be. 7 hard points we've got to. Arizona State on the offense, trying to get in. 3 kills again, blue. 6 in a row for Dylan Rex. 22 kills, game high for him. Milo at 8 and 15 has not been able to get anything going for himself. Double negative now here towards the end. 20 seconds needed for Fisher to win.
Just 20 seconds, and I talk about how impressive with Fisher College the spread is. You have 1 player soaking time, someone playing garbage truck, someone playing God Heady, and again off spawn, of course, that other person would have been playing alley. You get the last second break, but again, this one is only not a matter of if, but when Fisher College look to close this one out. Arizona State, you're at least trying not to get clubbed here. 4 points away from stopping that from happening, and maybe that's the last hurrah you can make here for your season.
We send back to the middle of the map, but Fisher is there. They're holding down the scrap times here of P7. Back to the first hill we go. Arizona State spawning out. They've got to get themselves into the middle of the map quickly here, but as Drexy finds the gunfight, Dylan Rex hops into the point. Over the top, Gunzy's there. 1 second left and needed. Fisher will get the final tick. A 4-0 sweep over Arizona State, and Fisher College will be crowned your champions of the Open Premier Division in the NACE Starleague.
The way they punished Arizona State as the series went on, not only a testament how deep this team is willing to dig for a win, but for Arizona State just showing if you want to go toe-to-toe with the likes of a squad like Fisher, you've got to be willing to go all really 7 maps here. 24 and 10 out of Dylan Rex, 20 non-traded kills. Gunzy 22 and 11, 18 non-traded kills. Another near 2 minutes in the hill. Druxy 20 and 9, 2 minutes in the hill. Say what you want, but for Fisher College, they really stand a chance here to kind of edge themselves out as one of these top collegiate teams. And as far as Open Premier is concerned for the NACE Starleague, they crown themselves champions once again.
Congratulations to Fisher College. I know Parker's happy right now. I know this Fisher roster is happy. They've got a lot more aspirations to look forward to in this collegiate season as things continue to dwindle down into the latter half of this Modern Warfare 2 year. But this is just another thing that this roster can tout for themselves, walk away happy with. And as they once again are champions of the Open Premier League, Amber, this is a roster that is going to be tough to tango with no matter who you are, regardless of the Northwoods, the Oklahoma Christians. If they have to go up against this team, it's going to be difficult to win.
Absolutely going to be. Again, the respawn is looking more than lethal at this point. The search and destroy would be your best chance to take it because the control didn't look like much faltering also. I know Expo could maybe be one you can kind of give to lack of reps as far as the opposition is concerned, but in the respawn modes, Fisher looking dangerous. You're going to have to find a way to take, whether it be a Neslo series or at this point in those best of 7s, right? Finding a way to take a respawn and guarantee yourself the search and destroys. Apart from that, they are looking rather bulletproof.
Absolutely. Well, Fisher, congratulations yet again. I believe we don't have an interview with anybody from this Fisher roster either, so that'll pretty much about do it for us here tonight. Again, the Open Premier Final has ended, but we still have more Call of Duty coming up this weekend. The championship of the Varsity Premier League, that will be Oklahoma Christian and Northwood going up against one another. Cash, closing thoughts before we go ahead and end things out here tonight.
Yeah, a great little kickstart to the week for, some Call of Duty action, right? Also, Rocket League got some good action before this, but as far as COD is concerned, you start things off with the dominant win in the Open Premier Division. This weekend will be an ND having a look at things between Northwood and Oklahoma Christian, and I hope we get quite the battle between those teams.
Absolutely. Tomorrow we'll have Overwatch's Open Premier Final as well as the League of Legends Open Premier Final. Valorant, Varsity, and Open Premier Finals will be on Wednesday. And then Smash Bros. And Rainbow Six Siege will be having themselves a broadcast on Thursday as well. So if any of those tickle your fancy, come back here to the NACE Starleague channel and we will have all of those going on for you. For tonight, that's it though. We'll see you again this weekend for the Call of Duty Varsity Premier Finals for Oklahoma Christian and Northwood. It'll be a doozy. It'll be a fun one. But for myself, Amber, the production staff, Ferme, and everybody here from the NACE Starleague, we thank you so much for coming out and watching tonight. We'll see you tomorrow for the remainder of the Open Premier playoffs for the NACE Starleague.